Hello, it's Keith Keller, Melbourne, Australia, and we have another Anchor Day today. Today's episode is called What is Your Ikigai? Now, if you haven't heard of Ikigai, it's a fantastic philosophy, and I'll be talking all about that today and inviting guests to come and speak about that as well. Now, as you may know, I have started a new series called Anchor Day. That's Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Melbourne time. And I'm still in the process of deciding whether that's a good time that suits people or not. And you can let me know if that's your thing. The four concepts that we'll actually talk about today are: what do you love to do? That's very important. This one's a very important point. What does the world need you to do? What will they pay you to do? And what are you good at? Now, if you can get all of those four thumping, you have your Ikigai, your passion, your purpose. And I want to talk a bit about this at length. I'll run through the slides and then I'll just go and call in for some guests. If you do have any questions, please put those in the comments and the chat. We can have innumerable amounts of comments if you want. Just put those in the chat. I would love, if we can, to get to 100 comments today. I think that'd be a bit of fun. And hello, Joshua. How you doing? I'm wondering if you have your Ikigai. Have you heard of the idea? I have my Ikigai sorted. I love doing these shows and I love playing with tech, and I do 2 or 3 shows a week, as you know. We are multi-streaming today to LinkedIn and YouTube, but with Restream, you can actually send it to many, many more places, including Facebook and a number of others. Love to know what your favorites are. I love LinkedIn for live streaming. So the point here is that we're sending it to LinkedIn and YouTube, but the reason I love LinkedIn is just look at those numbers: 1 billion members in 200 countries. So where are you listening in from? Are you in the US? Are you in Canada? Are you in Mexico? Are you in Australia? New Zealand, maybe? And do you have a Walmart? And do you have a Best Buy? I've been doing this research about whether or not there's Best Buys and Walmarts in the towns of listeners. Or do you prefer to buy things on Amazon? This is important because I do a sound check show where I demonstrate lots of tech. I love buying stuff. I love it. And so I typically have been using Amazon, but I am hearing lots of good things about Walmart and Best Buy. And also a lot of people are buying secondhand goods. So just jump in and tell me if that's of interest to you and whether or not you buy secondhand. Here's another iteration on why I love LinkedIn so much. I mean, look at these numbers. If you're going to do a podcast, if you're going to do a live stream, this is where you'd want to put it. 255 million users in North America alone and 183 million in Latin America. Unbelievable. Now, as you may know, I do 2 shows a week. So if you want to know where they are, you can go to whereiskeithtoday.com. And that will take you to a lovely page that lists all of my events all the way through till the end of September, which I'm very, very excited about. So, as I mentioned, this is the Anchor Day series, Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Melbourne time, which is 8 p.m. Eastern on a Tuesday night. And I'll be asking the question about whether or not that's the right time over the next couple of months. And I'll be asking for suggestions about what we could do instead. And this show, which will get started very shortly, is called What is Your Ikigai? So what I'll do is I'll play a little bit of lo-fi music in the background and call out for some for guests to come in. None of them have arrived yet. I'll just go and check out to see where they are. And I'll be back in a few minutes. No guest yet, but I did notice there's a few listeners there, so I'll just jump in again and tell us. I'd really love to know what you're doing. Have you heard of this phrase? What is your Ikigai? It's part of what I'm now calling the Anchor Day series. So jump in and tell us what you think. Put some comments in the chat if you want to know more. My name is Keith Keller and I'm in Melbourne, Australia. And I've got this funny accent. So jump in and have a chat with us. What we're talking about today is the four main principles. The four main principles. What do you love to do? What does the world need you to do? What will they pay you to do? And what are you good at? Now, I'd love to know what you think that is for you. For me, it's audio. For me, it's all about content creation and the internet and social media and doing this stuff. I'm loving it. I'm living the dream, if you like. If you've got any questions at all, please comment here, and I'd love to hear from you. Um, Without comments, I don't have a show. I'm just not going to talk at the wall for 10 minutes. I'll ad lib for a bit, but then I've got to have some guests coming in to talk to me. We are multi-streaming to LinkedIn and YouTube, and this is where I'd love to hear from you. Where are you listening in from? Where's your favourite spot? Do you have a Walmart? Do you have a Best Buy? Do you have a Staples? And if you're in Melbourne, do you have an Office Works or a JB Hi-Fi? Would be probably the most equivalent here in Australia. They're the numbers for LinkedIn, and here's the link to coming soon. So I do know that we've got some listeners, and that's fantastic. But unless we have someone come up on stage to talk to me, we don't have a show. So let me know where you are in the world, and if you'd like to come up on stage, I'll give you a couple of minutes. I'll play a little bit of funky music in the background, and then I'll have another go at trying to talk to myself. Thanks so much, Kenny. I'd love you to share this one around. I would love to get 100 comments on this one. Always a bit of a slow start, but Americo, you come in and saved the day again. Look, I was talking to the rooster there for a while and wasn't sure where this was going to go. But have you heard of this one, Ikigai?
You have introduced me to Ikigai, and it's a fascinating Japanese concept or
Yeah.
methodology or ideology.
Yeah, it's especially useful for career search because I was a career counselor in the noughties a very long time ago, and a lot of people would say, you know what, I don't know what I want to do, and Jay says he's a bit of a dirty dude. He's an icky guy. I get it. I totally get it. I'm a bit of an icky guy too sometimes. My wife's always complaining that I'm leaving clothes around the place and, slaps me over the head when I don't do the dishes. That's not true. She doesn't slap me over the head, but I don't do the dishes. So I am a bit of an icky guy. So there's a thing. So this is an especially useful term. And look at that one. That's something from YouTube, Americo.
Well, welcome, YouTuber
Yeah.
Nair Fruit. Hello.
Hello. Now that we're sending this file to YouTube and to LinkedIn, and we're doing a whole show about LinkedIn and a whole show featuring YouTube in a couple of weeks. So near fruit, I'd love to hear where you're from in the world, and if you'd like to come up and speak and tell us about that, that's pretty cool. So Ikigai is the Japanese concept to sort of find meaning. Now, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, look, I wouldn't mind doing another job, but I don't know what. I don't like the job I got, but I need the money. What can I do?" A lot of people are in the lucky position of having a job and then choosing to leave. This is also useful for job seekers, but job seekers typically need a job right now. They haven't got time to play around. But it is very, very, very useful. So I'm going to work you through this, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. So, as you know, it's part of the Anchor Day series where I do a series of shows every Wednesday at 10 a.m. And look, I was very close to giving up because there was no one coming. Hello, Rosemary. I'd love to know where you are in the world and if you've heard of the idea of Ikigai. So that basically you ask a series of questions, and if you can get all four of them in the same Venn diagram, you've got your purpose, you've got your passion. Right? So a lot of people don't know this idea. They need the money, so they get a job in their town that pays the bill, so they can pay school fees. So what do you love to do? I'll just work you through the four principles, and then we'll riff on them. What does the world need you to do? This is the real secret sauce. This one here, right here, is the secret. This is the secret. What does the world need you to do? What will they pay you to do? And what are you really, really good at? Right. So, what do you think, America? What do you love to do? What do you love? What's your thing?
My love has changed and evolved over time, but the one thing that stays true is coaching and helping by leading, supporting, and developing others fulfill what they want to do.
Yeah, coaching is a very specific sort of in a way an addiction. It's a two-way flow. Like we love helping people, but I got to be honest, helping people makes me feel good. So it's a bit of a symbiotic relationship, isn't it? Coaching is a
Yeah,
bit of an addiction.
absolutely.
But we love helping, and so the world needs us to be helpful, but we love doing it. So I just want to pick up on what's going on here. We have the US here, we have India, we have Britain, and Rosemary. I'm just trying to work out where Rosemary's from. And so we have the whole world listening in, right? So I want you to give me a bit of an understanding. What do you love to do? And what would you love to do more of? I've got a poll about this on LinkedIn in a minute. I'll send it to you as a DM or just follow my lead there.
Yeah,
So
let's pause for a second, Keith, and invite everyone. Like we're bringing the world together, so let's do what perhaps LinkedIn is intended to do. If you're on LinkedIn and you're seeing people that you might align with, drop your URL, your profile in the comments and reach out, connect with people. We'd love to see people coming together.
it's very cool. Isn't it good? Isn't it good? That's a great lead. One of the things I love about this show, doing these shows, like I'm not a big reader, and I learned so much like as an example, I learned so much on this show. But yesterday we started with this very simple idea: what mic do you have? That was the idea, but we went for 4 hours with people from Canada, from the US, from New Zealand, from Jamaica, Australia, and people chimed in and they said, "Well, hello, there's Jim from Toronto. Did you get your Keithy yet, man? Or what's going on with that? Have you met
No,
up?"
we haven't taken our Keithy yet. I know we've neglected each other. We're both have our sleeves rolled up. Jim's got some fantastic things on the go, and yeah, we need to get back in the right lane and make arrangements to get that Keithy.
Yeah, well, Jim is another career coach mate of mine, and he has a really wonderful site called Job Search by Heart. Now, what I'm guessing there, I haven't talked to him directly about this, but I'm thinking it's what do you love to do? What? And I'm guessing this picks up on. Have you heard of this principle, Jim? I'd love to hear your thoughts if you want to speak about this, because this is one of my favorite topics. I sort of meditate on this all the time. What do I love to do? What does the world need me to do? I think it's very, very, very important. There's Americo's LinkedIn page if you want to connect with him. So let's pause that one, and I want you to answer the question: what do you love to do? And please, it's an open slather. Just whenever you get round to it, even if you're watching this as a replay, let me know what you love to do. This is the secret sauce. I think this is the big one. A lot of people don't necessarily think about this, but I think this is the hidden gem. What does the world need you to do?
That is a fascinating
Isn't it a
topic.
question? Isn't it a great question?
Well, it's a question that changes and evolves with every day. Just think about yesterday we were talking about AI and some people's appreciation for it. But what the world needs me to do today might not require me to do it tomorrow because AI might replace what I love doing. So it's the ecosystem is evolving rapidly, and we got to find things that we love and back up things that we love so that when we're no longer required to do one of our passions or follow one of our vocations, we have something to fall back on. I
Yeah.
think that's important.
Well, you're for instance, one of my passions, which happens to be a very useful one, is that I love trying new things. Right? Now, if, for instance, LinkedIn decides, if not when, if LinkedIn decides that LinkedIn live events will be paid a premium feature, just say hypothetically, in 2026 we wake up and one day you have to pay for this if you don't already, and you're thinking, you know what, LinkedIn premium is $50, and I'm just doing this for fun. I'm not sure I'd pay $50 to go to a LinkedIn live event. I'm not sure I'd pay for that. What else is there? This is what I'm always doing. What else is there? That's my Ikigai that I'm always exploring. And you have been exploring Substack. Now, this
Yes,
is very, very,
recently.
very, very cool. You love, like I do, exploring new things. Tell me about that. Tell me about Substack and the idea of having that backup if the world suddenly changes and spins around and you find yourself at a crossroads. What are you doing? This is a very, very good one. This is a very, very good one.
So my backup plan is diverse in nature. So we got LinkedIn, which we all love and gravitate to. But what happens if people don't gravitate to the audible message? Where else can they consume my content? Because I know if I write on LinkedIn, I don't reach my audience. But if I'm talking on LinkedIn, my audience is there. So that got me thinking, where can I immerse myself and be of some value? And I tried Twitter, didn't work, exited. I tried other platforms, the Instagrams and the TikToks. I have a footprint there, but I don't put the time, effort, and energy because it's not the community that I resonate with. And I heard like just a couple of weeks ago of Substack, which I didn't realize has been around for some time. And its origination was a platform for writers and those who like to consume content, reading content. But it too has evolved, and I'm recognizing there's a similar audience, a similar community that resonates and has similar synergies to the community here on LinkedIn. So I've maybe a week into it, got a handful of posts, different style, different formats. I've tried written. I've uploaded my newsletter there. I have replays of my events or a sample of my events, and I'll continue to upload my events there. And discovering that I can also stream audio and video live. Um, not not there just at the moment. I think it's important that I build community first, make it worth their while. So right now, it's really about having the algorithm learn who I am and what my tone
Yeah.
and voice and persona, um, and who I would best resonate with. So I'm working on that right now, but it's exciting. I love the testing. I love to try to bend things to the point where we can break them. And when you break them, you learn something. How do you
You do.
reverse engineer something?
Look, I want to pick up on this. A couple of things. One is hello, Cyrus. I know it's very early there. I'll send you the link in a minute. Spencer, if we are not connected, this is a very interesting point about LinkedIn live events. I need to send you the link, and I can only do that if we're first connections. And so I'm not. I've maxed out my invitation list this week. You get 100 per week. I maxed that out on Mondays. So if you want to connect with me, I can send you the link. If you're connected to Americo, he can send you the link. Um, so we need to find mutual connections. We can have up to 5 people on stage, but I've got to find a way to send you the link. I can put it in the comments, but the link is not live, so you can't click on it. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Politely drinking tea and waiting while being mildly outraged before bedtime. That's a pretty interesting strategy. So I do want you to come on stage, but I've got to send you the link, and I can only do that
Let,
if we're connected. Are you connected
let me
to?
send him the link.
You're connected.
Yes.
Okay, there it is. So while you're doing that, Jim, have you heard of Ikigai? Have you heard of
You
this
know,
in
well,
your
you know
career,
what?
career counseling world? I think you probably would have come across it.
I've heard the word before. I went to AI just before I joined, and I realized that it's that I see your diagram, and it's amazing because I have an AI app called Your Heart Path to Work That Matters, and it's on my website at jobsearchbyheart.com, and it is Ikigai without being called that.
Yeah.
And it's looking at who you are and your experience and what you bring to the world, and creating a North Star of what is all the components of you, and what the environment that supports you looks like, and that sort of thing. And then uses AI to find places in the world where that lands. And then from there, you can start to choose what fits, and then build out your resume and your LinkedIn profile and intelligent networking. And it even allows you to go forward, or it encourages you to go forward 5 years and write your resume from that vantage point.
Oh man, I love that. I'm currently, I'm currently. I know this horrifies a lot of people, but my current paradigm now is beyond 2030.
Right on.
That's my current paradigm. My wife, he said, "Look, let's go out for breakfast on the weekend, and let's write down everything we want to do in the next 5 years. Let's just write it all down. Renovate the bathroom. Fix the house. Go to Scandinavia. Write them all down. The whole bucket list. Right now, this is a very powerful strategy. So, because my wife and I are settled, we do what we say we're going to do. We write it down and we do it. Once it gets on the paper, it gets done. It gets done. So we're just
Yes.
going to have a bit of a strategy session. Let's say 5 years time, wifey wants to drop down to part time or maybe even retire. What do we want to do? We probably want to travel. Top 5 countries. We got 5 years, one a year. That's one thing. Any renovations? What things need to be done in the house to make us all comfy in our retirement? I love thinking ahead. I love it. And you've got it nailed. How can we find out more about your wonderful system? It sounds like you've really got it worked out.
And it's really interesting too because it's also trauma informed, and that sounds complicated, but it's not. A lot of times people freeze up in job search because it gets them outside of their comfort zone too fast. When you don't feel safe to reach out, or when you don't feel safe or entitled to a career change, that sort of thing, people get to shut down, and they can stay and shut down a long time. So what we look at is where you feel safe to make those incremental steps, and using agile type of technology or a methodology to pick one or two things to do over the next 2 or 3 weeks, and see how it works and see how it goes and go from there. And so it's building this incremental, um, it's also guaranteed to work in the sense that if you're moving forward slowly, you're moving forward, and change accrues fairly quickly as a result of that. And it gets you out of procrastination mode. So many people are stuck in procrastination and so much overwhelmed, and they're doing the wrong things. They're sending ads, responding to job ads, which has like a 1 in 600 probability, no matter who you are. But talking to people, finding people in your field to talk about what you're interested in and what they do is so fertile. And you're better and further ahead to find 2 or 3 people a month to talk to, but to build out your plan based on who you are as a whole person. And why that is interesting is because the world is getting disrupted quickly,
Yeah.
owing to AI and world economic changes. And so we're all sort of in this precarious place. And why not show up whole and find out where that fits in the world ongoing? And that's a far more reliable approach than trying to always be chasing after the same target, even when that target becomes less and less viable.
The thing I love about what you're saying here is that, we know if we're talking about job seeking, it's much easier to find a job when you have a job. Like, it's a fact. You got about a
Hmm.
300% chance of getting a job if you got a job than if you wait until you get retrenched to find a job, right? So I love thinking ahead. My wife is already thinking about a 4-day week and possibly retirement. We're not just going to wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm not going into work today or ever again. And I haven't thought about what that means, but I've just decided that's a really stupid strategy. Like, I retired last year, but I planned it in 2022. Not many people know this, but I bought a book, a journal, and I wrote down everything that I was going to do in my retirement in 2022 because I knew I was going to do it. But it took me 2 years to work out a strategy so that I didn't wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm suddenly retired and I have nothing to do. I'm so bored. I didn't want that to happen. And the same thing can happen with job search. If you've got a job and you hate it, you've got a very, very good chance of bouncing off that and saying, well, okay, if I hate that, what else do I hate and what do I want to do? This is what I love doing. People it's not for me to decide, but people can benefit from thinking ahead rather than waiting that till they get retrenched and then thinking, shit, I need the money. I'm going to be sleeping in a sleeping bag next year. I didn't think of this. I didn't think of it. What do you mean you didn't think of it? Yeah, I mean, do you find it astonishing too, Jim, that people don't plan ahead, or you come across all types in your job?
A lot of people are just content with the status quo until it's no longer there. And then suddenly they find themselves out of a job. And it's happening quickly. I mean, in the finance sector, for example, Toronto is one of the finance capitals of the West, and then definitely of Canada. And if the banks can get one person plus AI to do the job of 5 people, 4 people get let go. And for example, if you're in Canada right now and you're looking for work, unless it's a labor job, you need AI prompt experience. You need to be able to do prompt engineering, asking relevant questions, because every app has that AI window. And you may not be replaced by AI, but you'll be replaced by someone who knows AI. And so suddenly, all of people are caught flat-footed. And a lot of times, we as career coaches are talking about what's your dream job. Well, what is work that matters is a little different, and really important shift in that.
Oh,
In
wow.
that, okay,
Yeah.
because there are many jobs that would matter to you that are not necessarily that one target. And so that's why we use AI to take, okay, here's all the components of that make me happy. Where do those fit in the world? And then you start sorting through that. And it opens up, it really pushes the horizon out for you to see more possibilities rather than just one thing.
Let's pick up on this. This is very, 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 very cool. Yesterday, this is amazing synergy. Yesterday, we spent probably about an hour talking about prompt engineering and that this is a thing. What the world needs is a couple of things it needs, but what it needs is it needs people to get AI. Like AI is here. It's 2025. It's not going away. The world, businesses, everyone needs to understand how it works, and the world needs you. If you know how to work, if you know how to use AI, you will be employable. And it could be said, and it's very interesting to have this discussion. If you don't know how to use AI by 2030, you may be unemployable. And look, I'm gonna throw it at 2030 to make it a safe distance, but it could be as early as 2026. Like if you don't know AI, you may be unemployable in a year or two. Is that a fair comment, or do you think I'm loading it up a bit?
No, in fact, the agency that I'm a member of in Canada, which it does holds all the career coaches and all the research, studied a cross section of employers and asked if they would, in fact, today, and it was reported on in January 2025. So this is August, that 100% of employers would only hire people that knew prompt engineering. In fact, if you don't know prompt engineering, you are in fact unemployable now. Hello.
Look, I think you're right. I wasn't going to say that. I wasn't going to say it that dogmatically, but it's true. It's 2025. If you in your next job, almost certainly in the interview, they're going to say, "What do you think of AI?" I mean, unless you're making coffee or pumping petrol or taking someone's groceries at the Woolworths, unless you're doing those jobs just because you're studying or that's a job you wouldn't mind doing. If you're going to have a job with a company, you're going to have to use AI in some form. Copilot, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, one of those, you know. And if you're not into it, then you're probably just going to get passed over. And is that fair? You're in the field, you'd know.
It's exactly correct. And it's also important to maintain your work as well. It's like if you don't know how to ask, and this is really easy stuff to learn. You can go Google it or go to YouTube and look for videos on prompt engineering. It's a fancy word. It just means asking relevant questions. That's all it means. And people want you to be curious. They want you to be learning. They want you to be doing research. And it makes for a more enjoyable job, a more effective job. And you may also already need to have that familiarity to be seen as a retainable person as things shift. Either companies are going to do two things: they're going to expand and do more, or they're going to do the same things with fewer people. Either way, you should really be now looking to be on a trajectory for the next 5 years.
I love
And
what you're
AI,
saying. Let me pick up on this. This is very, very, very important. And please come in and talk about this if you're listening. I know we've got about 10 live listeners and all over the world: UK, Jamaica, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, and the US. Um, what's very, very important here is if you went to an interview and someone asked you, even if just as a question, "Are you interested in AI?" And you said, "Nah, not really that interested in AI." I mean, you've probably blown it right there. I mean, you've probably blown it because
agreed.
most people are going to say, "Look, I don't know if we're going to use AI, but I want to know that if we do use it, we got someone on the team that knows what it's about because I don't." So if you went into the interview completely nonchalant about AI, you probably wouldn't get the job, unless of course you're pulling coffees or I don't know. I don't know. I'm guessing. What do you think, America? Do you think you could get a job in 2025 not knowing AI or not being interested enough to learn it?
Well, here's the interesting fact, and the resources I'm looking at now are credible, but they're not the only resources when it comes to learning prompt engineering. So I am a premium member, so I just jumped into the LinkedIn Learning, and there is an abundance, an endless list of prompt engineering courses, certificates, just learning resources. I am shocked to see how small the numbers of participants, learners are actually jumping into this. When everyone is talking about it, I totally agree with what both of you are saying. If you're not prepared to adapt and adopt AI, you will be left behind.
Yeah, and let's pick it up in an interview. My wife has done many interviews, and everyone tells you the bullshit they want you to hear. Oh, I'm a hard worker. I'm very diligent. I've been very, very thorough. I'm so into it. I'm a bit of a sort of perfectionist. All this bullshit that you just say at interviews because you want the job. But they're gonna come. They're gonna come back to you through the back door and say, "Hey, what's your take on this new thing called Google Notebook?" Oh yeah, look, I reckon we could really use that. He says, "Well, that's good to know because my gut feeling is that maybe down the track we might only need 10 people, and I want you to be one of those 10. We're going to probably get rid of 90 people tomorrow or next week and in the next year, and I want you to be one of the 10 that we keep. So give me a reason why we should keep you." It might even come to that. It might even come to the conversation with people in the job. Okay, we got 100 people. We can do that job with 10 people. How do we prove that you're one of those 10? Oh God, I hadn't thought of that. I've been doing this job every week for like 3 years. I just turn up. I got kids. They've got to take them to the soccer tomorrow. I'm not thinking too much about myself. I mean, as an employee, you got to keep yourself employable. This is what we were always talking about on the show, Career Success Radio, weren't we, Jim? You can't rest on your laurels. You got to be employable, haven't you?
That's right. Universities are taking a real hit because they've had a hands-off, don't use AI approach, and AI is bringing more knowledge to more people more quickly. That sitting in a classroom for months or years to get a degree may be too long, and so there's a lot of shock going through the system, but the good news is that more knowledge is available to more people more readily. And to me, a cell phone is a no-brainer. We all need it, but a subscription to an AI service, absolutely, we need it. Pick the one that works for you. I'm on three. I'm on Monica. I'm on Gemini, and I'm on ChatGPT. And think of it like your cell phone subscription because you need to be using it and you need to be able to go the distance, and you're going to learn so many things. And that your knowledge, when you show up with the knowledge and the confidence that that brings, that's undeniably visible. You can't fake it. You're real, you're solid, you show up.
Yeah. Now look
So
up.
here's a question, if I can ask both Jim and Keith. So going back to Ikigai, what the world needs and what you can be paid for, and circling back to academics, people are now learning, and I'm seeing articles, I'm seeing people post. They're going on Google, they're going on the big brands who offer free learning resources, and people are getting certified in AI and getting the education they need that's relevant for today's workplace. You mentioned that academic landscape is undergoing a huge shock. Where do you see academics going?
You go, Jim. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
This is interesting because as a career coach, I've been using AI to do research for 3 years, and then I started doing, custom GPTs. In ChatGPT, if you have a subscription, you can make custom apps. And I think I've been down the rabbit hole a number of times. I could actually breed rabbits. But the interesting thing is that at first you get overwhelmed and you think, well, where does the human exist in this? And the more I've used it, the more I realize that the human in the loop is the model. And so, how do we train and teach young people and adults alike to be the human in the loop? Be a more richer human with better tools. And it's that partnership which creates really the corporation of you. It's like you as a small company that can do things and many more things because of who you are and what you're focused on and how the tools support you. So learning how to be the human in the loop in what you do in the world, and to be comfortable with the AI partnership, and learning how to support that and use it properly. And that takes time. You're going to burn out a few times. I burned out a number of times. And now I'm fine. For the last 4 or 5 months, I've I haven't burned out anymore because I understand my place in the system.
It's a very, very, very good discussion. Um, if you are going for a new position or you want to maintain your position, I think you need AI. But Kenneth, I think, who works in a very human centric job, very good example here, doesn't know AI, doesn't particularly find it very interesting, and he's thriving. He's got a good, solid human centric job. So there's always going to be human centric jobs. Spencer in the UK says the world needs more love and happiness. Right now, we're in a difficult place, and kindness is more important than ever. This is where I think the real essence is the human factor. We can learn AI, we can talk about tech, but it's human to human. And Spencer, if you want to come up on stage, follow me or DM me, and I'll send you the link. Did you indeed send the link, Americo, to Spencer? He may want
I
to.
did. I
Yeah,
did. Yes.
that's all right. We'll do that. Guys made some very, very, very good comments about higher ed. This picks up on your thought. Americo, Guy's been on the show a few times. Did you end up connecting? This picks up very strongly on your question.
So Guy and I are following each other. I think he's maxed out his 30,000 members. So we're following each other.
Yeah.
So his question, higher ed is very strong with AI use, but we also know you must have the human interface or it won't work.
Yep. Exactly right. It's just exactly right. It's a very, very good question. And the question we're asking is, what does the world need? The world needs humans to understand AI, and you will get paid very, very well if you do. And picks right up on this. If you can master AI, you will get paid well. Eventually, and that might max out. But what do you think, America? Is that a good segue to getting paid? Do you think if you can master AI, you can name your price, can't you?
Well, I wouldn't exclusively say master, but I'd probably lean closer towards balance. If you can balance AI along with any human-centric emotion, behavior, skill of some kind, like you take a look at what I'm building and what you offer, we lean into tech all the time, but we're trying to keep the human element open and available through conversation, through the events that we're building. So it's about, for me, it's more about balance than anything else.
I love it. I love it. And this is a very good question for those that are unemployed or thinking of changing jobs because they hate them. The big fear is that there's not going to be enough money to go around. Right? I hate my job, but I don't want to quit because I need the money. So, how do you balance that, Jim? This is a very good question for you. How do you balance the idea that you need income in order to move ahead in your life, but how do you find that sweet spot where you can get paid for something you love doing?
Again, and that's an awesome question. I agree with everybody that's been all the things shared so far. Um, the great disruption is happening. And what do I mean by the great disruption? It can be any number of things. It can be a military conflict. It can be an economic meltdown. It can be AI. It can be climate change. It can be any number of things. Let's just say for certain, the status quo isn't for anybody isn't going to hold exactly the way it is right now. So it's important to be looking at a range of options that still intersect with who you are and the kinds of problems you like to solve. And there are many places that you can use that. So one of the key human elements is critical thinking and problem solving, and to deal with all the human issues in the world. And that really isn't a machine that does that. Although a machine can reflect you, if you go to my site, you'll see a compassionate AI-based coach, and it's amazing. It can be there at 3 in the morning when you need someone to talk to. If you live by yourself, it's an amazing thing to use. But it also teaches you how to be more human, because how it asks you the questions, it asks you like an attentive listener. And one of the most important things in any human interaction is active and relevant listening, and to be able to be part of a flow that gets established. And AI is trained to be in that flow with you for as long as you want. But to do that with a human being is really, really important. And that's where, yes, we need more love. We need to break down the isolation that social media that inflicts on people, especially young people. And so there's a wonderful, interesting, paradoxical opportunity here where using the machine to partner with you helps you to become a better human and more humane. And I've learned that over the process over the last 6 months. I've been able to heal things in my own life that I hadn't been able to tackle before, all because of the way I've generated AI apps and have used AI to help myself through things that I became aware of and I was curious about. And then I built an app to help walk me through it. And so I am one of those advocates that say I'm a better human today because of the AI, and I'm more social as a human because of AI, actually.
I love what you're saying here. You go, America. This is really fascinating
We
conversation.
touched on this briefly yesterday, where companionship came into the conversation and how AI is playing a role in companionship for therapy for the youth and different fields. I don't know, for some that we've crossed the line, and for others we're seeing this as advancements in therapy. Even I don't know. I kind of sit on the fence when it comes to the whole companionship, but now, hearing and listening to Jim share how he's become a better human as a result of it, it's fascinating.
Well, yeah, I want to share a couple of examples in real life. This is what I want to share in real life, the real examples. And hello, Tracy, jump in if you want to speak about this. A very, very prominent musician who was making a living from music said to his wife, "Hey, honey, I just wrote this song, and I'd be really interested to know, as a person who doesn't write music but listens to it, what do you think I can do better? Are you happy with the chorus? Do you think I could?" And she fell asleep. Like she's fell asleep looking at him. They're sitting on the couch, and he said, "Look, I want to involve you. I'm a musician. I'm making my living out of music, and I know you've had a hard day, but what do you think of my new song?" And she's looking at him, and she falls asleep on the couch while he's talking. And he says, "Well, that's not good. That's a human interaction," but she's not into it. She's had a hard day. So he goes to Chat GPT. This is a true story. This is a really fascinating story. And he says, "Look, I've just written a song, and I'd be interested to know what you think of the components. Can you make it better for me? And I'm just interested whether or not think this could be a hit. What do you think? There's no way to know for sure, but how can I improve it? I think I'm there, but I'm not quite ready to sort of release it yet. What do you think? My name is Bill, and please refer to me as Bill, and I play guitar and write songs." And the AI, and they were having a conversation. "Hello, Bill. I've listened to your song, and I think it's pretty good, but I think the second version of the chorus could have maybe a little bit of a sort of a change. Maybe make it a bit more interesting. And you've got this really long solo, and I don't think that works. I reckon try and keep it to 3 minutes, and I reckon you got a hit there. And by the way, my name is Jim. Call me Jim. Hello, Jim. Thanks for that. Well, now, wow. Well, how long do you think the solo should be, and what do you think we should do with the chorus? Well, let's keep the solo to less than 30 seconds and keep it upbeat, and do a double chorus after the solo, and then shoot into sort of some fade out. Oh, thanks, Jim. I really like that. No worries, Bill. And they're having a conversation like two mates on a couch. We were having this exact conversation with Dan yesterday, how he was in a band drinking beers, and they wrote songs while they were sitting around drinking beers on the couch. Well, now here's a guy writing songs with an AI friend he calls Jim because his wife fell asleep on him, and he wanted to involve her, but she didn't want to be involved. Right. So people who don't have that human connection now have an option. It's not either or. If they had a friend, they would ring them, but they might not have a friend. So it's better than nothing, or is it? What do you think, America? And Jim, the person, not the AI? Have you heard
I
this?
don't know. It's for me. It's a slippery slope because if I'm thinking of this out loud here, I'm an extrovert. I need that human interaction, and if that gets taken away from me, I know it's still within my control to find that balance. But if that becomes less and less of an option, I don't know if it'll do more harm than it'll do good for someone with that extroverted personality.
Yeah. An extrovert wouldn't go for this. Like a mate of mine, this is a true story. A mate of mine from Sydney flies down once a month, hires a hotel, stays overnight, has a networking event all day, goes home. Right now, that's an hour from my house, and I'm not going. He flies all the way from Sydney, hires a hotel, stays overnight, books the room out, gets 100 people in a room. That's my worst nightmare. Going into a room with 100 people an hour from my house, I don't know them, and it's wasted my whole day. For me, it's a waste of time because I don't enjoy it, and it sucks up so much time. Right? But for you, America, you might love that. You might even do that yourself. Fly or drive to another town, stay overnight, meet everyone in Kingston, Ontario, or Barrie, or Brampton, or Hamilton. Right? That would be my worst nightmare for me personally. You couldn't pay me money to do that.
And did that change post pandemic, or it was always that way?
No, I think the COVID consolidated that for me. I mentioned this yesterday that COVID gave me permission to love being at home. Before that, I felt a little bit embarrassed. You know what? I don't want to go. Well, everyone's doing it, Keith. You got to go. It's an event in the city. Everyone's talking. You might meet some nice people. Why don't you try it? Well, I don't know. I don't want to. But COVID gave me permission to love being at home. Right? It gave me sort of an authority. You know
And
what?
it hasn't stopped you from connecting people with others globally. Right? You brought Jim and I together,
Yeah.
and you brought me with other professionals together. So it hasn't changed your capability or your ability to connect and contribute to society. Just that
I'm
this is
just
your
powering
preference.
into my skill. Like
Yeah.
the very big analogy I use, I use this analogy all the time. I was asked to speak at an event in the city, and they were doing all the marketing. And I said, "Yeah, look, I'll come. It's an hour of my time to get there. Then I'll speak and I'll talk to everyone in the room." And it took up 3 hours of my life, right? And there was 8 people in the room. And granted, those 8 people did get to benefit from me and the other speakers. They didn't market it very well. I was a bit pissed off, but I got my face on a poster, and that I've still got the poster. So I mean, it wasn't a waste of time. The next day, I was interviewed in America, and 1,800 people heard that interview in 1 hour. Right? I didn't leave the house. 10 minutes before, I just got my mojo on, brushed my teeth, and made a cup of coffee, and I was in the zone for 1 hour as 100% pure me. 1,800 people heard that message. It was the same message. And I thought, this is it. This is it for me. I went into the city and 8 people saw it. I didn't enjoy going into the city. I didn't enjoy coming home. And I wasted 3 hours of my life. Maybe not the middle hour because I did meet 8 nice people. But in terms of functionality, in terms of pure ROI on our time, you can't beat the internet. You just can't beat it. Sure, it's not the real thing, but it's much more efficient. Now, this is a very good question for you because it sounds like you're an extrovert, but there's no way in the world I'd go to an event in a city anymore. I just wouldn't. I haven't for 5 years. I just won't. It's just a waste of my time. I don't enjoy them, and they never work. And that's from experience because I used to speak at events in the city, and it'd suck up my whole day. And I got really angry when I could have been home. So I'm very interested in this. I think COVID gave me permission to work on a hybrid schedule. And as I said, I get my veggies delivered every Tuesday at 4 o'clock. They came last night. It's $80 for a box of organic veggies that will last the week. I don't need to shop for veggies anymore. I can still go to Woolworths and get in the car and find a park and drive in traffic, but I don't like doing that. And there's no benefit to me by doing that. So it's a very, very good question. So there's quite a lot of comments here. What do you think, Jim? Am I on the right track here, or do you think it's about a hybrid?
What you're saying is very, very interesting. Another effect of COVID, and I like where you're coming from, is that we developed several vaccines in record time because the world was collaborating openly and freely. And when we look at the issues that the Great Disruption is bringing to us, it's climate, it's political, it's economic, it's medical, it's meaningful work. It's all about this. That the ability to bring minds together from around the world that are interested in the same things, and also that these same minds are enhanced by AI at the same time, I believe will create a creative resonance that will bear fruit far more than the dystopian fears that we have. I think if we can embrace it that way, we hope and trust that the dystopian naysayers will not have their day, in the sense of it, like the benefits. I think we need to focus on. There are guardrails that absolutely need to be there, but my concern personally is developing and bringing community together and enhancing that community with the tools. I just talked to 470 people an hour ago who are all refugee claimants in Canada, who are all professional people, and I had a similar conversation with them, and they were just absolutely overjoyed because a lot of them thought that they had to start over in their life, and that their accrued experience was worthless, and it's not. All of our masteries, no matter where they're gained on the planet, are relevant everywhere all the time.
Well, let me give you a really good example, and I want to share these examples. I accept that there are people that are fearful of the future, and I get that, but I want to talk about the positives. So I ran this poll about Substack because Merico in Toronto is using Substack, and this person named Maria, who lives in Hamilton, Ontario, said, "Yeah, I'm really interested in this one, Keith. I tried it, but it didn't work for me." And I said to Americo, "How far is Hamilton from you?" She says, "Oh, 45 minutes. Maybe an hour and a bad traffic day." "And have you met Maria?" "Nope, don't know her." Never would have come across her. She lives an hour from his house and a 20-hour flight from me. And I'm thinking, we just proved our own point. I did a poll, and this person in Hamilton, Ontario, who lives an hour from my friend, talking about the same thing, he could jump in a car and be there in 1 hour. They could have a coffee. You could stay overnight and run a conference at the Quest there. It's amazing, isn't it, America, what we're doing with this format?
Yeah, absolutely. And it wouldn't have happened if we just stuck to our written content and hope for people to engage. It just doesn't happen. Well, it does happen. It doesn't happen at the speed. So these events accelerate community and accelerate results that many people don't see, and it's staring them right in the face.
Yeah, it's about efficiency. And, we were talking about the example of a friend of ours yesterday in Kingston, Ontario, said, "Look, I used to be in a band, and we used to sit around the couch, get a 6-pack of beers, and in an afternoon we'd write half an album out." Oh, great. Well, very cool. Very cool. This is about maybe the 80s. I used to do this too. But now there's a thing called a looper, which is not technically AI, but I can do the drums with my feet, play a bass part that'll loop, play the guitar rhythm part, and I don't need a band anymore. Now that I've just done myself out of 4 gigs, or 4 people: the drummer, the rhythm guitarist, the keyboard player, and the bass player. I don't need them now. But when I was in bands and I was reliant on them, I had gigs lined up and someone would pull out. We had to pull out. Like we had to not work. We had to forfeit the gig. And I'm thinking, this is very embarrassing. This is the exact reason why Richie Sambora got kicked out of Bon Jovi, because he never turned up. He often didn't turn up. And if he did, he was late because he was drunk. Hope that doesn't come out in the replay. But, the Bon Jovi had to get rid of the main guitarist because he was drunk all the time, a lot of the time. That's why he got kicked out of Bon Jovi. But if they had some sort of AI, it wouldn't be the same sound. But Ed Sheeran plays with a looper. He doesn't have a band. But Dave Grohl wrote his whole first album all by himself in the basement. Only needs a band to play live. He can play all the instruments. But he wants to play live. Very, 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 very good. And there's Guy Pearce saying that he can play drums, so he can play. He can play in my next band incarnation. But it's the good, the bad, and the ugly. The world needs us to know this stuff, but it also needs us to be compassionate to those that don't want to learn it or can't, because it's a little bit of a lift. I'd love to keep this one going. I think you will get paid better, more regularly, more often, if you do embrace these changes. I think that's a fair comment, unless you're working in a very, very human-centric field, in which case you may never need it. But what do you think? What's your advice to job seekers, Jim, about this stuff? How do we play that middle game? How do we mitigate the risks if they want to get a job?
First of all, I think the best thing is to stop trying to go at the next available thing. Slow down, dig deep, and find out who you are as a whole person, because the changes are going to be constant. We have no idea what they are, but why not show up as a whole person? And once you do that, and then you look at a range of things that you're interested in, there will be a whole spectrum of technological interfacing as well. There would be some jobs that are less technical, some that are more. Where there's people, there will always be needs, and we all need haircuts, we all need to eat, we all need a place to stay, we all need clothing, we all need each other, we need society, and so on. So the high touch things will be there, but they're just like when you got to the ability to go to your Google Maps and see, or Yelp, or wherever these tools are, and to see a more richer set of options. AI is adding to that, and it always has been in behind the scenes. Now we all have access to it, and so it's important to first of all be true to yourself. If you're a fabulous bricklayer, by all means, lay brick, but you may be using AI to do the design work, to do it. You know, it's like the calculators show up everywhere, email shows up everywhere, AI shows up everywhere, and either you or your supervisor will be using AI to do a better job of what you all are doing, whether even though it may look on the surface that what you're doing does not need AI, but AI can bring creativity and options to the mix. And I think that's just to be curious about that, I think, is the right attitude. Oh, I'm curious about what this does. Curiosity is a wonderful thing about everything. Being curious about people, being curious about knowledge, being curious about AI. And the more you bring your curiosity to AI, the more curiosity you seem to have, and then so
It builds upon it. It's a good quality to have, isn't it? Curiosity is a human factor that will always reward you,
always.
unless you're a cat. Curiosity killed the cat. That's a song by a little band called Little River Band on KKFM. So, what I'm really, really interested in is the confluence between the human experience and AI and tech. And I want to give a really good example of how I'm using this. And I'd love for people to come up on stage. We have actually room for 5 guests. So Katrina, Guy, Michael, Kenneth, Melissa, Spencer, uh, uh, we've got hundreds and hundreds, quite literally hundreds of people listening. This is pretty cool. Lots of comments, lots and lots of really good comments. So DM me if you want to know how you can come up on stage. Curiosity is the key, and intention is everything. One of the things I've noticed with my style of content is that I love these long form curiosity shows. You know, we started with the show, the audience dictates where we go with it. If you listen to the first 5 minutes, I was almost ready to give up because there was no one here and I can't talk to myself. So luckily, America came and then Jim came and now suddenly we've got 100 comments. But what happens there for me is that these shows go a very, very long time and people have asked me, can you make some highlights for this, please? We talked about a lot of different things. Can you break it up into little bits for me? And the answer is no, I can't because I don't have the time. But I found this really cool site called Google Notebook. Now I'm going to throw to America on this because this is a miracle. Like, this is my favorite site, maybe ever. My favorite internet site ever. So I put the YouTube video, which goes for 3 hours, into Google Notebook, and it creates a 10-minute highlights reel. Initially, this time only audio, but they are working on a video model. And they take the essence of what we talked about, and I don't know how they do this, but they made it into a 10-minute listenable piece of chunky content. Now, America, what do you think of this? This is the essence of why I love AI. It's the essence, isn't it?
It is the essence that resonates well with you, and it provides diversity and breadth to your content, because not everyone can consume 3 hours or even an hour. I'll do a 1 hour show and it's still not for everyone. But if you take the subject matter that's discussed in that hour or in those 3 hours and you compress them, you've now opened your community to a whole new set of eyes, ears, who are prepared to consume 10 to 15 minutes of your content. So it's a great strategy to lean into, and I'm excited to see what the video is going to look like once they roll that out.
Yeah. So let me pick up on this. I do want to actually add you, Guy, but because you're not connected to me and I'm not connected to you, I can't send you the link. It's a very major weakness with this strategy. If anyone is connected to Guy, let me know and I'll send you the link so that you can send him the link. And when I get my next round of 100 invitations, I'll send you one and we can connect. But the reason why the 10-minute video on Google Notebook is my favorite thing is that I've worked out from the stats that most people listen to the 3-hour show in 10-minute blocks. They might come back, but the average listener listens for about 10 minutes and then they're busy. You know, they're taking the kids to school or they're putting on a load of washing or mowing the lawn or, you know, they're doing things, or maybe they're just sick of me. But the point is that they can't hack 3 hours. So they don't. They just listen for 10 minutes, go and do something else. They come back and miraculously we're still here as we are. And my highest score is 6 hours with 600 people. That's my highest score. We're not going to do that today, but I regularly do 4 hours. Because look at it. Look at how many people are here. This is unbelievable. And we can have 5 people on stage. Michael's coming in soon. Tracy's in Japan, I think, at the moment. We've got people calling in from America, from the US, from Australia, from New Zealand. People in America traveling to Japan. And the whole world is listening. And we've got people in Africa also listening. It's very, 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 very good. So Google Notebook is my friend, and I'm going to be doing some. Actually, I'll go into this. I don't know if I've got the link here. What I do at the moment, you can only do audio summaries, and I put those on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Keith Keller. I put my sounds in the cloud. That's the origin of that site. It's a German company. It's very good, very good. SoundCloud.com. So if you go to soundcloud.com/Keith Keller, you'll see that I've done this 280 times in my history since I've been podcasting since 2008. And in recent times, I've done it with Google Notebook. When video comes, I'm going to put it on YouTube, but it's not here yet. What it'll probably look like is a sort of a dumbed down PowerPoint slide now in 2025, but it will get better. Very, 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 very cool. So Spencer's finally conceded and he's got to go to bed. I get that, totally get that. But when you get a chance, connect with me and we'll do our thing. So I'm going to send this to Michael, who knows a lot about this. And we've got up to 5 people on this. We can have up to 5 people, so I'll do that. But does that make sense, Americo, this idea that audio is there for now, but video is coming, and that is a great thing to put on YouTube?
Absolutely. Take a look at LinkedIn as a prime example. Everyone is leaning in to the power of video, and nobody wants to be left behind. So when you look at the whole omni-channel experience from a business lens, it's identical in the social media platforms. Everybody wants to be able to allow the choice so that people can consume their content in a format that they feel is best for them, and want to make sure that it's seamless. So whether you're jumping on Substack and you're reading my newsletter, or shooting across to a stream that covers the same subject matter on that newsletter, the experience is the same, and it's being provided to you in a format that you feel is best for you, which is, I think, what they're zeroing in on, is that choice.
Yeah, I totally agree. We've hit 150 comments. I'm very excited. We have a winner. 150 comments in the first hour. How cool is that? I'm going to give myself a round of applause. Hey, we love you. I love me. Do I? I'm just going to play that out because I can. We've both got P4s, so we've got gadgets. We've got toys. So it's working. This is the Anchor Day series, and every Wednesday at 10 a.m. I'm going to do these shows, and it seems like it's the format that's working. What is your Ikigai? So, Jim, thanks for adding your thumbnail. Are you doing these shows as well? Are you doing these types of shows? How are you getting your word out? What content do you create?
Not yet. One of the interesting things is that after working for 20 years in a nonprofit, where your nonprofit is your validation of who you are, I semi-retired, and then I needed to get my own certification. So I went and got that. So I'm now a Canadian certified career development professional, and now I'm ready to put my shingle out more farther and wide. So I'm all ears as to what would be best for me to attempt, whether if it's the LinkedIn audio or doing something like this as a restream. That I'm all ears.
What I'm really interested in Jim, I struggled with. I was a career counsellor from 2007 to 2012 before I moved sort of into social media, and I'm always challenged by the dichotomy between helping people who have a job move to a better job, which is a better situation all round. They can pay you, so you're not doing so much free work, and they sort of are in a position to be more leveraged. But what do you do in the current economy? I don't know what's happening in Canada, but if there's a large amount of people that are unemployed, there's a desperation there. And I'm wondering, how are you managing that as a career coach? How are you managing the desperation?
I'm so happy you asked that question. And in consultation with AI, and partly because when you do a custom GPT as an app, you can't charge for it unless you do a whole lot of development and build a website and put it behind the wall. And then if they use your app with ChatGPT, now you're footing the bill for all that AI processing, where a custom GPT goes out into the world and you run it on your account on your dime. The only thing is, I don't know that you've used it. And I don't see what you're putting there, and that's fine. And you get to build in Easter eggs that come back to you. Like I have a link that will now that does a Google form as a feedback form. There's links to my Calendly to set up free individual appointments, join my mastery class, reach out and get the book that I've put online as a Google Doc so you can view it. All those sorts of things are built into my apps. Now, getting back to your point, I'm on a freemium to premium model. So my apps are free. And when you want people contact, I've lowered the bar on that. So on a Monday morning, I have what's called Career 911 for $5 Canadian. You can join 30 other people for an hour and ask any question, and it could be more people as it grows. So for the price of a latte, you get an hour of having this kind of discussion, and so there's an incentive for me to do it, and the bar is very low. And then above that, there's master classes that you can join a cohort and do 4 or 5 sessions that will take you through the whole material. And then above that are the one-on-one sessions that go for my hourly rate, which is a standard rate in the profession. So I can get the maximum amount of help into people's hands. I just don't know the penetration of my free apps because ChatGPT doesn't tell you how many people have loaded it. But I did get a call from Nairobi where there was a woman who was running a nonprofit that was doing prior learning assessments for refugee women from Ethiopia that had moved to Kenya. And they were using my app, which is your Heart Path to Work That Matters, to find out the skills that people had and find out their mastery. And then from there, they were able to do the required learning portfolio. And so they're now an outpost of what I do there. And I turned around and made an app for them that does the prior learning assessment given the framework of your country. And so it helps you to put the portfolio together to get the either advanced standing or outright certification on different things that you've learned in your life along the way.
I love this. I love this because, and I know this because I was a career counselor for 5 years. I want to help people, but I've got a mortgage. So I can't spend all day talking to people for free. Even if, I mean, if I had $1 million in the bank and I didn't have a mortgage, I had a mortgage at that point. If I didn't have a mortgage, I would have been able to do that. But there was a desperation there that bothered me a bit because I realized I'm never going to get paid. So you've actually worked out a way to add lots and lots and lots and lots of value, but also a way to pay your way so that, first of all, this internet stuff's pretty expensive, and second of all, you've worked out a way to sort of make it fair. This is brilliant. Have you? What do you do in America? How do you balance that out between getting paid but also helping the maximum amount of people that we can?
Yeah, I'm going to use the word balancing act again because there are different communities that I target, and to this day, the job seeker still has a soft spot in my heart. And if I can help them, I understand that it has to be at a relatively low price point. And I help through my content. I have LinkedIn Literacy, a show that I host. I have co-hosts that bring their expertise to the panel and to the conversation, and we give back in the form of content. Now, if anyone wants to dive deeper, they'll reach out to us and do so. But I think it's important, to approach this from a social selling perspective, not pitching someone who I know might be in dire straits or just cornered in a place that they may not be able to afford to get out of the rut that they're in. So I kind of lean in and make it part of my content strategy. Bring the free value and demonstrate the social selling, and then take each of the outcomes from my shows and repurpose that, and that becomes my social proof. So The people I'm helping at that lower price point or free are part of my strategy. And if I get something out of it, great. If I don't, then I just feel good that I was able to help someone.
Yeah. And
What I want to do is help the business professional and grow, whether sales, their business, and what have you. That's where my bread and butter is. But if I can demonstrate and help share my stage with a job seeker and show, hey, here's an example of one of the shows that we do. Here's how we bring community together. Here's how we introduce job seekers to hiring managers, and we can do the same thing. We can bring customers to the conversation, prospective customers, and we can turn these shows into a sales funnel. The show is typically top of funnel activity. We're here to educate and provide value. We're not going to pitch. We're just going to have a discussion around what a business might do or the value that a profession might bring to the audience. And from there, you're going to be able to pick up buying signals. And then there's that whole long tail that once your live is done, people are still going to come back and listen. And I get people reaching out to me, hey, I came across a show that you did a couple of months ago. Can we talk?
Every week I talk to you, you've got a really cool version of that story. People are actually saying, hey, can you come to me? I'm in Barrie. Can you come to me? I'm in London, Ontario. You're going to be so busy, and I just can't wait to see this all evolve. What do you think, Michael? We're talking about the idea of the confluence between compassion and cash, getting paid for what you do in a world where there's a lot of need. How do you find that balance yourself? Let's see if Mike's got a signal. What are you doing there, Michael? You got a signal? We'll come back to you on that. I love this idea because, and I sort of want job seekers to hear this because I don't want job seekers to think that we're unfeeling. Like to me at the moment, 2025, I feel the need is higher than the ability to service the need. I feel that there's more people that we can help than we can help. And are you feeling that, Jim? How do you manage the balance? How do you manage to get as much going as you can, but also keep yourself sane?
Well, it's interesting when my app is reaching the people in a free mode, and I have faith in the app being compassionate and trauma informed and thorough in how it works with people. I get to do the more interesting pieces, which is finally when the person's ready to talk to a human about what they're looking at, and I get to do that. And so it's really made my job and my life easier in that regard. And so I'm really thankful for this whole idea. And here's an interesting thing. As I mentioned earlier, I became one of the first people to go through the Canadian career coaching certification process. It just came available April 1, and it's a 4-stage process. And I got through it in 3 months, but I created an AI app to go through the 500-page framework. And that's just sort of a synopsis, 500 pages of the kind of content. So I put that into AI, and then there was an ethics piece and a privacy and information piece, and I put all that into AI and said, okay, teach it to me. One, test me on it using multiple choice exams because that's how they were going to test me ultimately at the agency, and then run me through scenarios that look at technique and the edge cases.
Bingo.
And as a result of that, I went through in flying colors, and now I'm being asked to use my AI app and a master class to help all the other career coaches that are wanting to do this certification by the Ontario board. And they reached out to me, and this is just
Ah,
unfolding in real time. So that's really cool. It's an unexpected result, but it's so cool.
and that's because you were proactive. You saw it coming, and the organization you belong to is now saying, you know what, this is good. Can you roll this out? Are you thinking of white labeling it, or were you just offer it as a sort of a licensing fee, or how will you do it?
Well, the app again has to be free because that's how the Chat GPT's custom GPTs work, and so it's the unofficial exam prep guide. But now they want me to run a master class and run a weekly drop in, just like my career 911. It would be like drop in, ask any question and I can have several experts with me, just like this,
Yeah.
but using it on Zoom or Teams or whatever platform that we're going to do, and I would get paid for that. And it was interesting because I used AI to teach it to me. Now I'm getting to help others to do it. But there's another unexpected benefit. This is so powerful in the app. Even if somebody doesn't want to do the national certification, if they're onboarding into a career coaching environment, this is a great onboarding tool because it gets all the information across the whole spectrum in an easy, verifiable way. And then when they realize that, hey, this is the track for the actual national certification, more people will actually attempt it because now they've already, in a sense, done it as part of their onboarding.
You're very, very clever. You've worked out. Let's just decode what's happened there. Canada has introduced a national certification for career counselors. Australia just went through this with financial planners, so I know exactly what this means. So now everyone has to do a bit of a test and has to be certified before they can call themselves a career counselor. And you've got a bit of a hack to make that easier for them. Man, you are a genius. That's a genius idea.
Well, it was desperate on my part. I didn't want. I wanted to get through quickly. I needed it like yesterday, and it worked beautifully. And so it got noticed. And I was a little bit nervous about that. That they thought I was worried that they would worry that I'm hacking the system, but no, because the system that they use is verifiable and proctored. And so all people have to do is show up and be able to perform, and this gets them there. And then honestly, after 22 years, I learned about 20% more than I knew already.
Yeah.
And in that 20% were some key critical things that led me to embrace trauma-informed coaching, for example.
I love what you're saying here. I want to share a story, and then I'm going to throw to Tracy and Mike. In 2008, I became a career counselor, and I decided to run a radio show on the internet to help people find a job. It was called Career Success Radio, and it was on Blog Talk Radio, right? And we went to the career organization, which shall remain nameless, and then said, well, what do you think, mate? And unanimously, people saying, this is a stupid idea. Why don't you just come into the city and sit in a chair with real people? What can be benefited from listening to a podcast about careers? This is really stupid. Like, this actually happened. And I got massive hate mail, from this. And I said, well, look, I'm just going to trust myself. It's 2008. I'm just going forward. I'm not going back. If you want to sit in a chair with one person at a time in a university on the other side of town, you do that. But I'm not driving an hour in a car and parking my car and spending petrol and getting a parking fine and possibly a speeding fine so I can talk to a real person. And the show was amazing. It was listened to in about 214 countries. One show had 1,800 downloads overnight. We had a total of 80,000 downloads in 2 years, which is not a big number by today's standards, but it was pretty impressive then. And I thought, no, I'm just going to run with this in spite of the vitriol that I had to put up with. Not everyone can see the vision, right? So I'm really, really, really excited for you, Jim, that someone could see what you're doing and gave you your flowers there. I'm so excited by that. I might go ladies first, if you don't mind, Michael, and bring Tracy in. Are you still in Japan? Are you having a great time? Tell us what you're doing and what's your take on AI and all of this?
Hello, Keith. I'm not in Japan anymore. I got back 2 days ago, so I'm in Houston. Interesting topic. You talk about Ikigai. I actually learned this not too long ago by incident, but actually this perspective, this philosophy is ancient. Okay, but I think we all label that, or the Japanese label that the way Ikigai. I think it's very scientific because it encompasses four different aspects. You know, what you love, what you're good at, and what the world needs, and what you can get paid for. So two of them, love and what you're good at, is intrinsic. Is something you can offer from you or from me, my own standpoint. However, on the other two is extrinsic, is what the world needs, what the world will pay for when they see the value. So I would like to say something specifically about what the world needs.
Yeah, please.
What they need, they will pay for, right? So these two are related, but there's a market size. If you tailor to a small, very tiny market share, that's okay. Or even the entire market is small, it's okay too. But for that small market, we will need to be paid a little bit more to compensate, all the costs, and in order to have a sizable revenue. But if we tailor to a bigger market, the profit doesn't have to be higher because it's mass production. For example, like retail, right? Supermarket, Walmart, they go with the volume. Therefore, their profit margin can be small. That's okay. So these two need to work together. If you have small market, you want to have a higher profit. If you want a
Yeah,
mass market, then the profit, it's okay. As long as it's reasonable, we can survive. Thank
yeah.
you,
And
Keith.
this is all part of what we call the marketing funnel. So, a very good friend of mine has a marketing funnel where she does lots of podcasts and blog posts and articles and probably even has a Substack account. And that's all very free and first step, right? And which leads down to the next step. And she has a group coaching call. This is very, very common. She charges, I think, $125 a month, and you can have 1 hour conversations in a group twice a month. And she has about 10 people in that, but that's only going to pay her about $1,000. Can't live on that, right? So she has coaching calls, one-on-one, for $500 an hour. That's what she charges. $500 an hour because she targets executives, right? One-on-one coaching, and she does plenty of them. Couple a week, that's enough. Couple of $1,000 a week, and then she has a VIP day, which means I'll come to you and you can have me all day to do your resume and we'll go out for a coffee, and she charges $1,000. So she's got 4 steps to this funnel. This is not exactly what you're talking about, but it's a matter of, if you go high, you can afford to charge $100. But if you go deep, you can probably got to charge $1,000. Is that sort of what you're alluding to there? If you've got less people, you've got to charge more. Yeah, is that right, Tracy? You've got to charge more if you've got less sort of margin, less people in the mix. We'll come back.
Yes,
Yeah.
Keith, I agree with that. And also, there's competition as well. Unless you offer something unique, there's no competition at all. You have the right to decide how much the price is. Otherwise, you really have to consider competition, how much the competitor who's offering something similar is charging for.
I think that's exactly the reason I love tech. Like, I could buy something from Amazon, and that's a discussion unto itself. Now they can afford to charge less because they've got bulk. I get it the next day. If I don't like it, I can send it back. They've got a system. But if I go into a shop that has like 2 employees and a room out the back, then they've got to charge more because they don't buy as many. Right? And sometimes I buy it from them just to support them, but I'm doing that for them. And I've actually sometimes rung them and said, what am I getting for my $50? I can get this on Amazon $50 cheaper. Why would I give you $50? Sometimes it's, well, my kids are at school and I need the money. And other times it's, well, can you just be a nice person and help us out? So it's very, very important in the current paradigm that some people have systems, and so they can charge a lot less for the same item in a competitive market. and other people have unique offerings that no one else offers. What are you thinking, Michael? Have you got a signal yet? Do you want to jump in on Ikigai and how to get paid? I know this is a subject close to your heart. And what do you think?
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa. Konnichiwa.
This goes for me so deep, and the reason, well, most of my professional career I've spent in service, so I feel very strongly about not just it's giving value to, and I think this all ties in with what you can charge too. Is you have to know what your value is. But I think if you start by giving value, you will attract you will attract the right people to you, and if you don't, then you need to figure out another way to do it. But throughout my career, like I started as a tech, and we actually, the company I was part of, went to the top of our market segment because of our service. I mean, we had a good product too, but we had stellar service. We actually got written up in a chapter on service. And then when I became a CISO, I just flipped that to internal. I had, my clients were internal then. So I was serving the business. I was serving the people that reported to me. I was, servicing my peers. So, I think if we have this sort of mindset of service, and I also wanted to touch on abundance and scarcity. I think a lot of us operate in a mindset of scarcity as opposed to abundance. And again, I think sometimes we may think we don't have a choice. I think we also have a choice. So the question is, how creative are we going to be? And what are we willing to do to get to where we want to go?
I think it's very
So I agree with, what you love, what you're good at. What the world needs may not be what you think or in the way that you think.
How do you determine that? I've often been puzzled by this one. How do we determine what the world needs?
Well, I think you have to, for me, it's like you just have to go do what your passion is. And if that doesn't, I mean, look at the entrepreneurs. Almost every entrepreneur has failed pretty spectacularly, at least once. So, there's a bunch of stuff to figure out what your minimum viable product is, right? And there's a bunch of different ways to test. But I think that's, you have to constantly being, going out to the market and saying, is this it? Is this it? Until you finally find what it is. And I think part of that is also being willing to just go out and do it and stick with it, because sometimes you may be a little bit ahead of the curve.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, when we were podcasting in 2008, I knew this was a good idea. I just knew it. I just knew it in my bones. But I got so much bullshit. And after 2 years, we morphed into a different version. But sometimes you are ahead of the curve and you've got to stick with it. I know this is a good idea. I know this restreaming idea is brilliant. I know it. I just know it in my bones. But not everyone's up for it yet. Not everyone's here with us yet. But I think this is the future of content. And we're restreaming. We're building trust. People can hear us. They'll reach out on LinkedIn. It has 1 billion users. It's like, I think it's the ideal format. Would you agree, America? I think we're on the cusp of a wave here, don't you think?
We're on the cusp of a couple of waves. We're riding the shiny trend that many platforms are leaning into, the whole video. But it's, in some cases, it's still overproduced. In other cases, it's very poorly crafted, but it's what everyone is gravitating to. So we're bringing video and we're bringing sound to a different level where it's immersive. People are interacting. So if you look at video today, everyone is saying if you're If you're not on video, if you don't have videos in your feed, you're not going to get the visibility that you want. But people still can't engage, or when they're given the option to engage, it's through commenting, texting. So you're bringing two paradigms together, where what we have here is a real live conversation. It happens to be in audio format. It can be on camera as well. But we have an audience that's immersed in this conversation, engaging, asking questions in real time, getting those responses in real time. And that is value that many people will seek, and it will be sought after. And I answer your question, I think we are just ahead of the curve. There are production companies who have been doing this for years. Let's not kid ourselves, but we're bringing raw visibility, which is what a lot of people are craving.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things going on here. One is because there is a replay, and these shows get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of replays. I'm really excited about that. People that can't come live can still hear the show later, and then may think, "Oh, this is a good idea. I quite like this. I'll go to the next one." So you've got that very top of funnel idea where you don't even know who's listening. You don't get a list of who is watching the replay, but you know that 200 people commented, and we'll probably get about 200 or 300 views of the show, and we're getting about 10 people listening live at any one time in 10-minute blocks. We're getting some stats. So as we go along the line, we can say, hello, Jeremy. Hello, Guy. Hello, Kenneth. We can actually start to engage with the people that do go online. And that's up to us to take them through our journey. Like you are, Americo, and this is a very good example. You have decided that you're going to offer an audio-only solution and an audio, a video solution. Now, they'll be two different price structures, and you'll have a sense of what you can offer. And the people will say yes or no to those offers. And then you stack them up. It might be the show only. It might be, let's have a bit of question time. Question time's a bit harder to do, so we'll add $50 to that. Or actually, well, let's put it on Substack. Let's add layers. I can't wait to see what you're going to do with this, because it's like a chocolate cake or a sort of ice cream cake. You know, you can add so many layers to this offering that you can start really inexpensively, $50 even, and you can go all the way down the line, and eventually you may even have a team of people working for you. Can you just let us know your funnel? Because I keep bugging you about this, but I can see your potential, and I want you to play it out.
Yeah, and we are definitely playing it out, and I'm putting it out in bite-size chunks, and just seeing how the community responds and how people are engaging. So the actual offers are starting to take shape, because I now have a good idea as to what people are leaning towards. So stay tuned. There's stuff available now on my website, but more to come. I think it's important that I find balance on platforms like LinkedIn, who have spam filters. It's really about finding that sweet spot where you're bringing value and you're not being picked up by the spam filters for self-promoting.
Man, I love this. I just love this. I just love this format. And to ask the question, what does the world need? I am seriously asking, does the world need this? Does the world need this format? I'm hoping the answer is yes, because I love doing them. But if the answer is no, that's okay. I will find another format to share my passion. But my gut feeling is that the world is resonating with this format. There's 5 people live on stage, including the host. There's lots of great content being shared. We've had 200 comments in 90 minutes. The world is resonating with this model. And it's what Mike said: test and measure. I've done so many variations in this show, some of which completely failed, and you don't even know where they are because I'm not showing you those. But you got to test, and they say the master has failed more times than the beginner has tried, and that's our story. So we've got Americo, Tracy, Mike. My name is Keith Keller, and I'm right there at the end. And Bez, mate, jump in, mate. Do you use this idea in your career coaching model? The idea of Ikigai.
Specifically this model, a variation of it, right? I see parts of what I do in there, because I do get into what is it that you're looking for in your next, job, and what kind of hiring manager do you want to go to work for. So there's a lot of introspective work and strategy that goes into before you even start your job search, right? So you have to figure out who you are and who do you want to be, right? And so I do see a lot of this in what I teach. I just go about it differently through career life planning exercises, mindset, understanding the mindset one needs to be successful. And there's a lot of introspective and pre-work. So I do see a lot of what I do in bits and pieces in here. Yeah, somehow, some way, I do see it, but not exactly like this. Back to you, my friend.
Well, the thing that might be very relevant to you as a recruiter, and we've been chatting a lot, and I really want to hear from you on this. We've been chatting a lot about the need, and there is someone coming. We're in a very unique position where the room is actually full. So I'll move people around in a minute, but I want to pick up on this, Bez. The world what does the world need? And job seekers need a job. They need income to feed their kids. It's as simple as that. But what I'm really interested in is, how does a person who's absolutely caring nature means that they do a lot of stuff for free? How does someone in that field get paid?
I think caring doesn't mean you don't get paid. There's people that care a lot and get paid well too. It's I think there's a lot of people like myself. I started learning online marketing in 2016. I made my first online dollar in November of 2024. That was what, an 8-year journey, right? A lot of me getting in my own head, right? And using every excuse in the book not to have launched already, right? And what it took was somebody coming to me and saying, "Hey, you're going to be my career coach." And I'm like, "I am? Okay." But I was ready. I had my price, I had my program at a glance, and I had a link they could pay me through. That's all you need, right? I didn't need any fancy whatever. I just needed to go out there. Now, they came to me, so I'll tell you that right now, I have 2 cohorts. All of them have been word of mouth referral. I'm right now working to launch, and one of those activities I'm doing is trying to build my email list. So I think that is super important. I think a lot of us who try to launch organically, then we're wondering why it doesn't work well. Well, we haven't built up an email list, right? And you have to play the statistics game. And so, any type of funnel activity you can do to get people, on a wait list or something that, hey, in the future you're going to have something, but maybe you don't right now. I think is a worthy thing to do to then be able to go and sell something to them, or not so much sell, but provide a service that they need, or they wouldn't buy it anyways. You're not twisting people's arms. If there's a need, like I'm looking at there, hey, um, what the world needs. Well, if they don't need it, they're not going to buy it. So there's a little ikigai in the method to the madness. Back to you.
I love this. What does the world need? This is a very good question, because on the free version of Restream, which I'm testing out, you can have up to 6 people on stage, the host and 5 others, for a paid version, which is $30 a month, which I'll have to pay for myself, I can get 10 people on stage. So the question is, does the world need this format? And if they do, I will upgrade. And we've got couple of people bouncing in the green room thinking, can I go on stage, please? Come on, what's going on? I've been waiting. So
You can take me off stage. How do I do that?
all right, I'll do that. I was going to ask politely if someone would volunteer.
Yeah.
Before
I'll
you do that,
volunteer to
Jim,
go back in the audience.
before you do that, Jim, tell us how we can get a hold of you and what you're doing, and then I'll put you back on in the stage, and we'll get more people up on stage.
Sure. You can go to my website, which is jobsearchbyheart, HEART.com. And my about information is there. My free AI apps are there. My programs are there. You can also link to me on LinkedIn, and I'm Jim Woodbridge on LinkedIn. And I'd be happy to link with you there.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So the room is full. Jim and Americo might drop out, but please keep waiting. Please keep waiting. So this is a very good point. I'm doing this for fun. It would cost me money to actually upgrade to Restream. Does the world want me to do it? If they do, I will. But if why pay $30 if no one's coming? Yesterday, we had hardly anyone on the call. The people that were on the call did stay for a while, but we only had 3 people. So for the last 3 months, I've been sort of doing this as well. Tracy needs to go as well. How are you doing, Tracy? Jump in and tell us what you're doing, and then we'll bring some other people up on stage.
It's almost 9 o'clock here. I'm still jet lagged. I'm about to have my dinner, but I want to say the alignment between what the world needs and what we can offer is very important. And I like to change the needs to desires, because the Ikigai is the philosophy of life, how you proceed into your life. It's not necessarily applicable to business, but business, you can possibly create the desire, make people want certain things. That's why we market a product, a service. Many things in the market are created by the manufacturers, by the marketing agencies, and we don't really need it, right? For the essentials, what we learn from COVID are very few. Thank you, Keith.
Yeah, my Steve Jobs once famously said, if I wanted to know what the world wanted, I'd tell them. There's a direct quote. I'm pretty sure I'm correct. If I wanted to know what the world wanted, I would tell them. He made the iPhone. No one asked him to make it. He just took a risk. My gut feeling is they want a phone that, does everything. I'm just going to trust that. How did he know? How did he know? No one told him. So it's a great topic. It's just such a great topic. What does the world need? What does the world desire? It's a very good point if the goal is to get paid. And of course, the goal is to get paid because we've got kids and we want to pay the mortgage and have holidays and things cost money. So what do you think, William? What do you think the world needs? And is the world desire a better phrase for that? What do you think, William?
That's an interesting question. What does the world need? I don't know, but I know what I need. I need to be a part of a community. I need to feel like I'm engaged. I don't want to be sold to. I want to have a discussion about topics that are relevant to me. And I want to give a platform to others so that they can sell themselves, because I'm not a salesperson and I'm not looking to sell anything. When it comes to the monetization of my platform, I've been very, very intentional about not monetizing it yet, because in my mind, you wait till you get critical mass in order to start monetizing on other platforms. However,
you can definitely go too early, can't you? You can definitely go too early.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if you have, like 1,000 supporters and you're asking them to pay for it when they can go to Don Lemon and pay for it, you need to know your audience. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a calculated risk. of putting everything I own out there. America and I seem to have a different strategy. Mine is 100% video. However, because I'm on Substack, it takes that video and transfers it automatically to an audio format for my uh, Apple Podcasts and Spotify accounts. So, and I actually loved it better. To be honest with you, I thought I was addicted to the video. I need the video so that I can play off of people's reactions. But when I was driving in the car and I put on Apple Podcast and I just listened, I could listen to it all day. It was really, really great stuff.
Oh,
And I was not distracted by what I was doing, because whenever I look at my previous streams, I'm like, oh my God, why did I make that face? And why did I do this? And why am I looking up like there's flies on the wall? You know, there's all these distractions that keep me away from the point of the conversation. But in the car driving, I love that audio. Um, I look at the Substack and Patreon to determine whether or not I'm ready to go. I just don't think I'm there yet. And where I'm there at, where I could probably monetize, would be on LinkedIn, because I have the most followers on LinkedIn. But I'm trying to get those followers to follow me through all of these other platforms. And each one is hosting a reasonable amount of views. I got 4,000 views on I think me and Americo's, one of our short clips on TikTok. That's fantastic, you know, but it doesn't mean they all watched it. You know, I think it was like 478 likes. So is there a need? Yes. But I think that our topics need to be focused forward, not backwards. And it needs to be really authentic. One of my best ever podcasts was last week, Wednesday, with Jeremy. He was fantastic. And what that podcast did was it healed somebody out there. I don't know who, but somebody out there got touched by that story. And I know it in my gut. Once, you know, I get the critical mass on Substack and on Spotify, and I don't mean 10,000 users. I mean, give me 1,500 regular users and I'll start monetizing it. I would go with it. And I do hope to monetize in some way, or if I don't monetize it directly through subscriptions, Tom Ford, I wear your glasses every day, and I'd like to be a spokesperson. So, you know, give me free stuff. Give me swag.
I love free stuff. I love free stuff. This is very, very important. We're talking about the idea of what does the world need, what does the world desire, and critical mass. Is that the kitchen light? Is that someone sharpening the knives? Someone starting the car? Some background noise that my supersonic hearing can hear. But,
I'm sorry about that. It's me. I have Aroma 360, and I will mute myself so you don't hear it.
What is Aroma 360?
It is a product. I have too many for the size of my house, that makes your house smell like a hotel room. So,
okay. And it just periodically throws really nice aromas into the air.
yeah. So people can smell my house from the outside when they walk in. They're like, "Oh, it's like aromatherapy." But I have all the large ones, and I have 2 in the living room, 1 in my bedroom, and 1 in my hallway. Is that 4? Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. It's a very, very gentle sound. No one can probably tell. But what we've talked about here is this confluence, and this works for job seekers as well. The confluence between what does the world need or desire, and how do you get paid? Now, we've mentioned a key feature here, and that is critical mass. Do you wait? And very good question. Do you wait until you've got a mass of followers and then launch, or do you go early? And what do you think, Bez? I know you've got your hand raised. You talk a lot about different models of micro influencers that don't necessarily relate to numbers anymore. You want to pick up on that? And I think you had a question as well, didn't you?
Well, I liked the conversation where William was going, and there I wanted to address somebody in the um, comments. Guy Pierce, he said, and it resonated with me. It says people don't want to be on a wait list because I mentioned a wait list. They want results now. So, what does the world need? So, that's a very insightful thing because maybe a wait list is me getting in my own way to be perfect, right? And that's why I never launched. And it had to someone come to me and say, "Hey, you're going to be my career coach." And what that person, and I give that person credit today. She's in my program. She knows who she is. She knows what her impact was. She was on me. Now I get to have impact on her, right? But one and others that are in my program. But one thing that I also talk about is she wasn't the first one. About a year and a half before, someone else came to me and said, "You're going to be my career coach." And I'm like, "Okay, let's have an intake call and get on a Zoom." And I did all that. And then I ghosted her. I was petrified, like, and I'm a confident person. I'm a extrovert. And I was like, but I sort of felt like a fish out of water, this, I know what it looks like to do business to business in the corporate world, right? And do big business. And here I am, get all, thumbs when I'm doing smaller business, right? I feel uncomfortable. So I like what Guy said, because you know what? Maybe I should give people an option like, hey, you can get on my wait list, or hey, if you want to hear more about the results I can give you now, let's hop on a call and I'll show you how, and then you make a decision. So maybe I should have more that approach. But going to where William was talking about, um, I everyone has a different approach, and there is no wrong approach, right? What I will tell you, William, my experience is I wanted to be perfect. And it took someone to come in and make the proclamation that I was it for them, right? And that gave me confidence. It also, and I had to be honest with him. I said, "Look, friend, I'm dirty. I'm going to build this as I teach it with you. When we're on a Zoom call, I'm going to hit record. Are you okay with that? I'm not glossy. I'm not shiny. I'm not perfect, but I can get you results. Are you going to be okay with that?" Well, she said, "Yeah." It didn't matter that I wasn't, you know, like the gurus are all flashy and all nice. She had hosted a stage of helping people get jobs in tech, and I was always volunteering and giving free advice as a career coach, along other career coaches. So she had her choice. She didn't have to go with me. She liked how I did it, right? And so, um, William, I understand how you feel. I felt that way. Um, I don't know what is the answer for you, because your answer will look different than my answer. But sometimes what I did notice is, as I went on this journey, actually, the people that were in my cohorts, I've got two cohorts. I learned a lot from them. I learned what they want, what they don't want, right? And I'm even now, I'm gonna talk to them again, say, "Hey, where do we need what do you need right now?" Right? Where can I make an impact with you? Is there somebody in my network you need to get a hold of? What can I do? Because I don't care about accepting their dollars. I care about the transformation, because that will be very satisfying to me. While I'm doing this, they're gonna reward me, right? They're gonna reward me for what I believe is a fair exchange, right? And so yeah, William, I hear what you're saying. I will tell you that there's a lot to be learned in the messiness of of the journey of just going out there.
That's the fun
Even if,
part.
yeah,
Yeah,
even if they
but
come to you and force your hand, it's like, oh, I feel inadequate. But you know
yeah,
what?
I think
Yeah.
you might be missing a point there.
Okay.
So I am in it,
Oh, you
and
are.
I
Okay.
am doing it, and I'm doing it on every platform out there. The question was, when do you monetize? And I think that you can jump the gun too early, which turns people off, or you can wait until you get critical mass. So every single time I go on, my numbers jump up. I believe that my intuition, the universe, God will tell me it's time. But until it's time, I'm not looking to make money off of it.
Yeah, very good.
What I'm looking to do is to be guided and to pray that every single time I get on, that I touch somebody's life in such a positive way, and the money will
Okay.
come.
No, the money
The
will
money
come.
will
Okay.
come.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
my question to you, Biz, is why did you ghost someone who said, out of all of the coaches, I choose you? What in
So,
you thought you were not worthy of that?
yeah, I know that's a great question, right? Even us who coach need coaches. I actually went and hired a coach after that. I knew I was like, well, this is not right, and I paid good money to hire a coach. I felt, I don't know. It was, like I said, I'm used to being a master of my domain when it comes B2B, right?
Yeah,
And do business at a scale where I ask people for, dollars that are quite a bit more than what I'm asking someone to invest when I give them that service to them, right? Um, I, you know, I had questions about pricing. I had it was everything. Look, I knew that my method, because I actually have a framework I've developed since the pandemic, and I actually been doing this for 30 years as a headhunter, right? But the career advice was free, right? So I had a lot of testing, but I felt I needed to test more, and maybe and when this person came to me, the first one that I ghosted, yeah, she went to go have some surgery, so it gave me like this little excuse, but I should have followed up with her, so I did ghost her, right? But I
yeah,
just felt like I wasn't polished enough. The gurus tell you, gotta make it look this way or that way. And I learned when I went to get coaching, I learned we had a pod out of a larger cohort, and the most impactful thing that happened is this lady was in there. She didn't have her camera on. She goes, and we were hemming and hawing, like, what CRM are you using, and all this stuff, right? And we're like 6 months into the program, and we're still hemming and hawing about CRM, and all of us are asking and trying to ask questions. And she said, "Stop! Don't do what I did. I spent $25,000 before I launched, and I made a goose egg." And we're like, "Tell us more." She goes, I'm an expert in helping authors launch their books, and my program is $10,000, or that's what it was at that time. I launched, I went and got the CRM, I did all of this, and I got a bunch of people in the room that were not my ideal client.
right,
They,
right,
they loved me, but they couldn't afford me. She said, what happened is I had to strip everything out, and I sold it to them for $2,000. They bought it. And after a year, I shut down the cohort because they were not my people.
okay,
And she says, you only need three things. And I've sort of alluded to this. She said, all you need is your program at a glance, how to be able to show somebody that what your program is about. The second thing you need is a link to someone to pay you at. And she goes, the third thing you need to do is you need to just go out there and start talking about your program.
right,
And we're like, and all of us in the room, even the facilitator, says, whatever we paid for this coaching program, that was worth every single dime right there. And what you said, we all walked out of that room that day thinking, wow, you don't have to be perfect.
Right. And I think we hold ourselves back by looking for perfection. And
Yes.
perfection is a ever evolving state of mind. So the more you do it, the more perfect you become. And none of us are perfect. None of us will ever be perfect. So um, I would say release that part of your state of being, um, and just go for it.
Hmm.
Like you said to me, the only thing I haven't done is monetize it, but I have jumped on. I go on unscripted. I just jump on and say what I want to say, what's in my heart in that moment. It's very real. It's very authentic, and it's resonating with people. So as long as it continues to do that, then I see the money coming. But I'm putting my love into it first,
I
and
love it.
then see the rewards.
And
But
I probably jumped the gun because I don't know everything you do, and so I probably should I know I think I've looked at your LinkedIn before because I remember your picture there, but right now it's been a while, so I can't remember what it
you
was.
mean
But
you
I
haven't
should
watched and read everything I've written? Are you kidding me?
I barely have time to even read what I write, as much less. No,
I'm
I
so
probably
insulted.
no, my apologies, but
I'm joking. I'm joking.
I know, but yeah, what, like I said, I probably jumped the gun, but I in how you responded, I totally respect it, and I see this Guy Pierce making some great comments in here, but Guy, you're resonating with me, and I learn from you guys too. I learn. I tell my the people that I call students or people that I have the honor to coach. I learn from them too, and I always
Yeah.
even tell them, don't take what I say to be the end all be all. Go test it. Because if you test it and it doesn't work for you, but something else does, then do that. Because if I give you a script and I'm 30 years in and you're 10 years in, you will not you won't feel comfortable if I give you the script from my eyes, right? You'll
Right.
be comfortable you'll have to tweak it to how you think you need to tweak it. But I know this one's gonna work. So test it. Test it. Test everything. Don't take what I think I know what works, but the world is evolving. I have to test
Right.
my own stuff, right? So
Absolutely.
I don't claim to be the end all be all. I'll be your guide, and together we'll figure it out, right? Because
Absolutely.
I'm learning in real time too. And I think the what I'm trying to say is this journey for me by someone slapping me in the face, say, "You're gonna be my career coach," and I finally was, yeah, yeah, sure, here. I'm dirty. I'm imperfect, but I'm willing to teach you if you're willing to accept me. Then, yeah, 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 sure. What's your price? Oh, okay, that's good. No problem. Let's get started. And here, guy is shit all the things like, man, whatever you say is resonating because that happened to me, right? People didn't want to be on the wait list. They came looking for me, and I finally said, "Let's do it." So that was my journey, and I'm
I love this discussion, and Guy, we do have room for you now. A couple of people have stepped down and moved around, but William, can I ask you about Substack? I love your multi-purposing strategy. Are always talking about this. So we use Restream to restream to several sites at once, but you're taking it up a notch even from there and taking that content further. Tell us how you use Substack and how people in the audience might benefit from that.
So right now I am learning Substack. I've been on there for 30 days, roughly. And I restream my podcast live everywhere, including Substack. But Substack also takes those Substacks and StreamYard. They take my content and they turn it into clips. I kind of like the Substack clips better because they are more vetted out when it comes to the copy that you see on the bottom, and they're a little bit larger, so it allows me to put up to 90 seconds onto TikTok and Instagram. So although I'm streaming live on TikTok and Instagram, you still want those shorts, right? Although I'm streaming live to YouTube, you still want those shorts. So Substack takes everything that I stream live and it breaks it down into 90-second shorts. So
Substack does that.
that
Substack does that for you.
Yes, anything that I upload to it, it turns it into shorts.
Wow, how does it do that? Is it just a click to go shorts button? Is
I
it
don't.
that easy?
I don't know. It's literally whenever I upload a video, 5 minutes later, I'll get something on my phone that says your clips are ready, and I'm like,
Oh
okay,
man, do you want to jump in on that, Americo and Bez? We desperately want to learn this. We all desperately want to learn this. Can you hear what we're saying here, Americo? You
Oh
doing?
my God.
Isn't it good?
So it's Williams has, truth be told, William inspired me to start my Substack. And
good. Are you following me, America?
not yet. I'm still trying to
Okay.
figure I'm 4 posts into it, so you got 4 weeks on me.
I'm about to send you my link, and you're going to start following me, and I'm going to start following you, so that we can build up some. Because I don't have a lot of I don't have a lot of engagement on that, so we have to support each other
Absolutely.
and repost each other's stuff. So yeah, we're like newbies. Go ahead. Sorry. So
William, what's your last name? I'm looking you up.
William Rochelle, Rochelle, and I don't have my Substack link on LinkedIn. But Americo, you should get on Substack. We can talk about that.
Oh, I'm on it already. I got.
Okay.
I've uploaded one of my lives. Like I've dropped in 4 different types of content: video, audio, in my newsletter, and a short form written content.
Okay.
And I'm liking what I'm seeing, and it's a small sample, so I understand that Substack has to learn who I am to be able to put me in front of the audience that best suits me. But just yesterday, when you look at Keith, yesterday I shared with you my open rate on Substack was at 50%.
Yeah.
It's now jumped up to 66.7%. So 2/3 of what I've posted, I'm just getting better open rate than my email.
What?
So
Really?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Absolutely.
goodness.
Absolutely. So, Americo, I went all in on Substack. So, are you all in?
I'm ready to go all in.
Okay. So there's a button. It's just a fucking button. And it says, do you want me to add you to Spotify? And you say yes. And then it takes you to Spotify automatically. And it says, click this button and it'll create a code. So that's how all of my podcasts are now on Spotify. And then the same thing for Apple Podcasts. I didn't have an Apple Podcast. So it automatically goes over to Apple Podcasts. And Apple Podcasts takes all of my music too. So I've been in creative mode. So I've been creating music as well. And so I'm getting music and podcasts on Apple. Spotify is taking some of the music, but not all of it. And then have you connected your YouTube to your Substack?
Not yet.
Okay. And your Facebook?
So I've I thought I did, but to be honest with you, I thought I did. But when I open up my Substack right now, it's prompting me, do you want to link your YouTube channel to this? So I'm gonna have to go back in and make sure that I'm linking all my other platforms to this. Yeah.
Okay, so let's stop right here for a second. So link everything, right? You don't have to worry about Spotify or Apple. Once you create something, whether it's a post or a live stream, once it's done, it takes you to a page that says, do you want to share this on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or I don't remember the other one. And you just click yes, and they automatically just fucking go. Whether it's a writing, whether it's, and it brings it back to your Substack. So when people click on it, it goes back to Substack. And then you get a certain amount of the analytics tell you how many people opened it directly from Substack, how many people opened it directly from YouTube, and you get all that data. I haven't been able to track my Spotify data or my Apple Podcast data, but to be honest with you, I haven't really tried. So that's on me. But get it all set up, click the button, do it. You'll
All
be
right, so
amazed, my friend.
I'm on your landing page here, and if I hit,
You're on my landing page.
I might have the
you're
wrong.
at William Rochelle.
Yeah,
Right?
does it look like me?
Well, the glasses look
It,
like you.
it has
The
an orange.
the
It has an
superhero outfit.
Oh
What
yeah,
are
yeah,
you,
yeah.
an
That's
Avenger?
me.
it has
That's
an orange
me.
jumpsuit. An orange hoodie. Is that you?
That's me on LinkedIn
Okay.
because I wanted something that was a little bit more comfy because that's my spirit. I
Okay.
don't like those like prepped pictures that when the person walks into the room they look nothing like the picture because it's too perfect. Not a hair out of place. So yeah. So Americo, you're on my right Substack. If I look like a superhero, like a ninja, that's me. That's how I think my body looks. So leave it there. Don't say anything about it. Hit subscribe. The other thing that I did, because I used to do, and I'm going to go back to doing it, I used to do an article every day. But recently I have to be inspired to write. I haven't been that inspired. So I've been doing like maybe 3 a week. But I took all 400 of my videos one weekend and added them to Substack, which then added them to the shorts to YouTube for me, which then added the entirety of my 400 blogs to YouTube as well as Facebook. And then I did all of my lives that weekend as well. I created descriptions. I asked for hashtags that go viral on YouTube. And I added that to all my shorts after I did the re-upped all of my previous data to Substack. So when I walked into Substack, the first month on YouTube, I had like 7,000 new viewers, but not subscribers. And there are a lot of people that we have to get used to this. I think you taught me this, Americo. They're like silent, like champions, where they're watching everything you're doing, but they're not really commenting. So since then, I've seen steady growth, but I'm down like maybe 60%, 40%. I don't know from the first month, because remember the first month I had uploaded like thousands and thousands and thousands. So that was all new data and people were really checking it out. So I'm going to encourage you and keep asking you where
Right,
you're
so
at with getting everything up.
Here's a question, and I'm trying to figure out where this falls into place. If it is Substack trying to monetize off of your profile, because you mentioned you're not monetizing. So I click subscribe and it prompts me to pledge your support for William Rochelle, and it gives me 4 options.
Oh,
Is
really?
that something you turned on, or is that something that Substack is trying to monetize off?
No.
Persona?
It's probably going to go to me. But I thought subscribe was just subscribe to my. You can say go ahead with the free. Isn't there an option for free?
There is. They don't
Yeah.
call it free.
What do they call
They
it?
guilt you. They guilt you into saying, "Don't support Will." I'm kidding.
No, I mean, because they asked me, did I want options? I haven't said I want options, but I did apply for. I did put my information in there so I can start receiving payments, thinking that God is good and eventually I'm going to get flooded with money from this. But yeah, subscribe and then restack. I'm still trying to figure it all out. I'm trying my best to figure it all out. And I have a couple of diehard supporters like Ms. Main, who reads everything I put out. She listens to every bit of music I put out. I love it. So are you subscribed for free?
It's done.
Okay. So I should have 59 subscribers now.
Let's talk about this
It's
model. Let's talk about this model.
uh-huh.
Substack.com allows you to create content for free and ask your loyal supporters to pay a monthly fee to read it. Now that's the money, that's the model. So once you get to a point, and there are plenty of people doing this, once you get to a point of saying, look, I'm doing content every day, if you're digging it, why don't you just sign up $4.95 a month and you'll get access? If not, I post a free one a month just to give you in the loop, part of the funnel. So I don't know the stats, but I do know there are people making a living from their Substack subscriptions. There would be.
Yeah.
Does anyone know anything about how many people are monetizing and whether it's worth doing that? Because if you're writing content a lot, people will pay you for that.
Right. So Keith, all of the big guys are monetizing. So when I say big guys, I mean the ones that were fired from traditional media because the administration didn't like what they said. And so they went to Substack and they're all monetizing it. And you can monetize two different ways, which we can talk about. One way, which is the easy way, is to be fan funded. And with fan funded, you offer them different things at different tiers. So for $8, you're allowed to comment. For free, you're just allowed to listen. For $20, you're allowed to do a comment, and we'll post your comment on air. And then for $80, you can be a part of the panel, right? So you can say your question out loud and we'll bring you into the conversation. So that's what I'm thinking about. How do I want to structure it and what value I'm going to give them at each tier? Because I need money, but it's not about the money.
It's not about the money. It's exactly the same as Buy Me a Coffee, except it's just a bit more betterer. Buy Me a Coffee was a fantastic program that said, look, if you're digging the show, why don't you just buy me a coffee? I funded my whole studio with that system, buymeacoffee.com. I bought my mic and my mixer and my PC monitor, and I funded my whole studio upgrade with Buy Me a Coffee because I was doing the show and I loved doing it. And I just said, buymeacoffee.com. Go and it's actually buymeacoffeemonday.com because I did this show called Buy Me a Coffee Monday. If you're digging the show and you think I'm worth it, why don't you just slip me a tenner? I'll go and buy 10 coffees or 2 coffees, or I'll put it towards this new mic I want to buy. And I funded my whole studio that way. That's a first level. Substack's taken it up a notch. If you're digging this, pay $4.95 a month and you get all these levels. You can comment, you can be an administrator. It's unbelievable. I'm going to go and find some stats on who's doing this. It's very impressive, Americo. Tell us what you think, because I'm pretty impressed with this.
I'm like a squirrel here. I'm distracted, and I'm trying to find my next nut here on the platform. I just plugged into my YouTube now, trying to figure out if I plugged into my other social channels correctly, because when I loaded the video, I didn't get the prompt that suggested shorts were being created. I just love the fact that I can now navigate and maybe use Substack as a hub and everywhere else.
Look, you're on your page, right?
Yeah.
Okay, look up. Do you see a bell on the top upper right?
Yeah.
Does the bell have like little red notifications?
Not currently.
Okay, click on the bell and tell me if you see anything that says your shorts have been made.
Nothing.
Okay, go back to your. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take this offline.
Yeah, we'll take it offline.
When are you free?
When am I free?
Yeah.
For you, my friend, I will make time for you. How's that? Because I know I've dropped the ball a couple of times on you.
No, you
actually, William, I charge for you to have access to America, so you can pay me. Just
So
joking.
Miracle
Look
has
at
a
that. I just
pimp.
acquired an agent.
He has an agent.
Okay, all right. So what we can do, and we can do this two different ways, America, because I believe in putting everything live, right? So we can actually do a webinar where I show you my Substack and how I do it, and we can do it live, or we can just do it in private, whichever way you want to do it.
No, hey, let's build a show around it.
Okay.
Ooh,
And
I
then
like that.
And then the other thing that I would love if you want to do, but you have to think about this real carefully, right? So we could actually be a part of each other's Substack. In my mind, you would be a part of mine because I'm the big dog. It would be brought to you by UBU Live, Americo da Costa. Ding! And then you can also have your own page,
Yeah.
but it would be part under one umbrella. So it would go to your page, but also be on mine and also funnel to my YouTube. But you would be like another, it would seem like UBU Live has another host.
I
Yeah,
don't know
well,
if I like that. I don't know if I like that deal for my client. Let me confirm.
Excuse me, you, sir, who go around ghosting people. I said that we would. I said that we would do a back share, right? So a back share means that he would use my content too.
That's confusing language. Backshare. What the heck is backshare?
It means that he could take any of my content and post it on his
I'm
any
just
of my
joking.
contacts that's relative and post it on his
Let me
Substack.
let me jump in here. This is very, 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 very cool. When Blog Talk, I want us to talk about this because this is very important. What we're talking about there is very good. We're doing a show tomorrow with Americo, and we can do another version for this for William. Blog Talk Radio had this a massive system going in 2008, and I want to just pick up on this in this exact scenario. You could run your own show for free once a week for 30 minutes, completely free, no charge ever. Then for $39 a month, you could have a show every day for 1 hour. One show once a day for 1 hour for $39. But for $79, you could do a show any time of day, any number of shows for, I think, $79. So what a few of us did, exactly what you're talking about, William, a few of us paid the $79 and went sort of fifths in it. And someone said, well, look, I'll do Wednesdays 10 o'clock. You can have Fridays and I'll do weekends. So we all
Right.
divided it up. We paid one very small fee, $75, I think it was. It was $15 each. But we could have a show for like unlimited time, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours if you want. This is 2008. So what you're talking about there is you could run your own Substack and go at it. You've got to do all the work and you've got to start from scratch. And everything you win, but you've got to do it. Imagine if you get together as a hub and say, well, look, we're going to have a master Substack and we'll just stack it. And it'll be part of a hub of Substacks that are all running together like a shopping center. And that's got to be better because you're working the system together, aren't you?
Look up America. Look up Midas Touch Network and Popov Legal AF.
They are the number one podcast at the moment, Midas Touch, aren't they? Number one. They beat Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Yeah. So Midas Touch, that's basically their model. So Midas Touch is three brothers, and they brought on Michael Popak, and he comes on once a day for Legal AF through the Midas Touch Network. But he has his own, like, he owns his own content. So his content is on Midas because Midas is the number one thing in the world right now. So why compete with them? So he joined forces with them under the Midas Touch Network, but he still has Popak Legal AF as his own sideline business. And he is able to mention Popak Legal AF on his Midas Touch segments. I think you're a powerful man, and I think having you added as a host once a week. could make a difference.
Yeah, it's a
But think
funny.
about it, my friend. Sometimes it's better to do it as a team than to be alone.
Oh, I totally agree. The whole "it takes a village" framework and analogy holds true, right?
And someone's going to love you and hate me, and someone's going to hate me and love you. So taking that type of knowledge and say we're going to appeal to two different audiences, you know.
Yeah, and who knows? Someone's going to hate me because I remind them of Bez. How's that?
Yeah.
Well, Bez, I'm about to mute him. I'm going to mute Bez.
Don't talk about your agent that way. You know, you might not have an agent in America. You know,
But let's pick up on what's happening here. The Midas touch. It's an unusual spelling, not what you might expect. But I found it. I saw an article on this week. The Midas Touch podcast is the #1 podcast in the world. They beat Joe Rogan this week.
Yeah.
So whatever they're doing is working. So 1 + 1 = 3. You can run your own show on your own network and have complete control, but 100% of nothing is still nothing. You know, but you know, by sharing the load, by working together, 1 + 1 = 3. Now, I'm not a maths teacher, but the point is that, you know, in business, you can go alone if you want. Do everything yourself, and you have 100% control of the success you're not having. You own it.
Right.
And if you're successful, you own that success. But it's bloody hard on your own. Imagine the idea of putting it all together. And, you know, William and Americo get together and they have different audiences at different times, and they're twice as powerful as they would be on their own. And William's already in the loop. Like, he's already got it going. I mean, it
I
just
have like
makes
5 different shows.
Makes so much sense. What do you think,
That are
Bez?
all-
You're into multi-skilling.
Don't ask Biz. Don't ask him. Don't ask him. Don't ask him.
We can start a hashtag. Don't ask
wait.
Bez.
No. I actually have a hashtag called Bez Says. BEZ,
Okay.
capital SEZ. Bez Says. So it's don't call Bez, it's Bez Says. Get it straight.
Okay.
So what was the
You got
question,
me
by the
straight.
way?
Question is one.
How many times have you ghosted people in your life?
Is 1 + 1 better? Is 1 + 1 3, or is it better to do everything yourself? And I mean, you are the perfect person to ask, because you know we can do everything ourselves, and we have 100% of our own success. And there are people that like to be the lone wolf, and I sometimes do this because I don't have co-hosts, but it makes much more sense to be in a network of people that are already on the same page and working in the same direction. You can cover a lot more ground, and that's obviously what Midas Touch has done. And I just think
You know the three brothers, right?
I hadn't heard of them till this week, but I know that they're a progressive anti-Trump movement, which is now obviously much more popular than Joe Rogan and the.
No, Joe Rogan's anti-Trump at this point now too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he is.
But and I'm not going to say too much about that because that's going to show up in the replay. But Bez, you're all about distribution, aren't you? You're all about distribution.
That's the other part, though, Keith. And I'm going to say this to Americo. I'm a little bit more bullish than Americo is. So I get into like today's thought of the day was about Epstein, about Trump, about why are we looking at Obama? You know, I'm going to go and I'm going to talk about the things that people are thinking but afraid to say. I think Americo, I think you and I talked about this before about politics, and you were like, well, I try to stay as out of it as I can. So it's not your thing. But if it's on my mind, if I feel like right now we're about to get fucked, I'm going to say it. Like, this shit is crazy and I'm not about it. And if I don't get a job from it, then it's not the job for me, right? I don't want to work with someone that doesn't believe in equal rights amongst all of us, or that women aren't as great, or that gay people aren't good. I mean, why would I want to be a part of that?
Bez has got a very
So
good example of this. You mentioned that Substack, let's get him back to Substack and the idea of working together. There was an anchor that was sacked for saying something.
yeah,
Oh, Jim
And
Acosta, man.
and
Yeah.
and, and he set up a network. He's making a good living independently on his own. Great story, isn't it? Great story.
Jim
Yeah.
Acosta, Tim Morin, Joy Reid, Katie Fang, Don
Yeah.
Lemon, all of them were fired because they said something negative about this administration.
Oh,
So until
they won't bend the knee, and
yeah,
the
so
network didn't like that.
yeah, so if it and fuck the network, because you're getting all this money from people, and when it's okay to be woke, then you're with it, right? But then that's why Target is doing so bad right now, because when it wasn't okay to say woke, they removed the DEI program and found out real quickly how many black dollars were in there supporting their business. So I believe in authenticity. I am me. I will be me. You be you. And that's why there's no fluctuation in how I feel, because it will always be authentic.
Yeah. I like this. I know, Keith, you don't like to talk politics, and typically, in being in the business world, I typically try to separate it. But what I won't do, William, and I can appreciate what you say is, when I got into the professional world in the early 90s, and then we had Prop 187 in California in the mid 90s. It was very anti-immigration. All Latinos were horrible and stuck in the system. I knew that the statistics didn't support that. I stood in that truth, but what I didn't stand is stand up, right? I was almost ashamed to be Latino, right? Because I was like, oh man, I'm trying to fit in to make a buck here, right? And I feel bad about that. Now years later, I don't give a shit.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I don't need more friends. I need to know who are my ride and die, and the rest can go to hell.
Right.
And that's it.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm okay with having less friends. I mean, but I will not stand here today and let my people be persecuted and hunted down like the slave catchers and just not say anything. I'm not about that anymore. Now, I love what the youth are, and they stand up, and I wish I was that way. And in the 60s,
but they don't, is
all those
they're
boomers, huh?
they're
All those
not.
boomers
They're getting a lot of their news from TikTok and
Mhm.
Instagram, and I'm a little not embarrassed but disappointed because my daughter told she told me this. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You have no
I
idea what's
yeah,
happening, and she
I
lives in Los Angeles.
yeah, I live down in Atlanta, but I had my daughter say, "Hey, you did say some crazy thing." I go, "Where'd you get that news? That's not on mainstream media." She goes, "Oh, on TikTok about Pizzagate." Yeah, I'm like, oh my
Yeah,
goodness,
it's
really?
crazy.
Oh, come on. But we have that problem in the Latino community. They don't consume news through traditional media. It's through TikTok, YouTube, and stuff. And there's people, Latinos or Hispanics, that aren't even living in their country. They're living in another country, and they're doing anti, like, the pro-Trump stuff, and they do it to get their ad revenue, make their 10 grand a month, and it's a lot of misinformation. So
Yeah, it's
it's just
sad.
something we fight. Yeah. Mhm.
So, guys, I'm gonna check out because I'm old and it's 10:44. Um, uh, I'm gonna do a
And
shameless plug, Keith, on your show. At 4 o'clock tomorrow, it's gonna be me and I think Michael LeBlanc and Jeremy and Peter Muffler. That'll be a follow up from last week's conversation. Michael, you have the invitation in your mailbox. I don't know if you accepted it yet, but that's what we're doing, buddy. And I said it
No,
on
no,
live, so you have to do it.
We'll share it around. We got to help each other. This is
And
brilliant.
then, Americo, you have my phone number. Text
Yes.
me anytime. Do not call me.
I don't have your phone number. If you're going to
Yes, you
negotiate with
did.
my client, you need to give me your the
Bez, Bez,
the
Bez,
red
Bez,
phone,
Bez.
dude.
Silence. Silence. So text me when you're available, and then if I'm available, I'll just call you back.
Right on.
And we can talk about Substack and other
America, make sure you run that through me.
things. Goodbye, everybody.
Oh, what a great segue. I'll play a little bit of music and we'll keep going.
All right.